Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SpawnCast episode 158. Got a bunch of stuff to go over here tonight, PS5 stuff. I thought about if we have time, OJ, at the end talking about the Nintendo 64 and the GameCube, because I heard there was a debate about that on Twitter. So
yes, it was great. It was so fantastic.
If we have time for that, we'll check that out too. But then we also have Final Fantasy 7, which we won't talk any spoilers on Final Fantasy 7, so don't worry about that. We're just going to go over our general sense of the game and what we think of it and all of that. Then E3, and then Stadia actually went free and no one seems to care, but I figure we'll talk about it a little bit here anyway. So let's go around to your guests tonight. We have Stealth from Twitter.
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys.
Absolutely. You can check Stealth out on Twitter. We have his link down below in the description if you want to check him out there. Good to have you on. Figure you can talk with us about Final Fantasy 7 and the PS5 and other things. So I think that'll be pretty fun. We have Sean here, who did get a new PC, which has enabled him to put text on the screen.
Yes, and no lag or anything, hopefully. So we should be good.
How's that PC though, Sean? How is it?
Man, it was weird. Like when I had to set it up and stuff because. Yeah, but I mean, it ended up coming out good. I still don't really understand most of the stuff on it. But I did re-download Steam, which the last time I logged into Steam was 2015 to download Knights, and that was it. And so I re-downloaded Steam and I tried out Shadow of the Tomb Raider demo just to sort of do a benchmark of this PC, and it did pretty well. The game looked fantastic, so I'm rebranding to all PC gaming, PC Master Race now. I can't. I don't like sitting in front of my computer for too long. But yeah, no, it's a very cool computer, very rainbowy as well.
Nice, very nice, very nice. Then we have OJ, Player Essence. What's going on, man?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm having a blast with Final Fantasy VII Remake. Been streaming the hell out of it. It's so much fun. So we'll talk about that, I guess, right?
Yep, very good. Then we got Nate.
Yep.
Okay, good. Nate is here.
I am here.
And for once, Nate has played the newest game that everyone's playing, so he'll be.
Yeah, I've been playing the Vigor beta.
Oh God!
I love it. Keep playing. Keep playing it because everyone that plays it sucks, and I dominate them.
Oh gosh! Did you play on Xbox yet, Sean?
Hell no. That's what's gonna suck is when because the Switch version is gonna have cross-platform play. So yeah, it's gonna be dicey.
Jump over to PC.
Shit.
Yeah, we got MVG. What's going on, man?
What's up? I'm doing well.
I saw a picture on Twitter of this new game console you got.
Polymega is here. Everyone thought it was vaporware, but I have it, and I'll have a video dropping on Monday.
I gotta see that thing, man.
Can you dramatically hold it up? Can you be like, whoa?
It's actually right over there. It's quite chunky, so I'm not going to do that right now. Okay. But it's real and it works. And yeah, check out my video.
Someone posted a picture on Twitter of it loading up a Neo Geo CD game.
It's ridiculously fast.
It was very fast.
It is ridiculously fast how it loads Neo Geo CD.
Can I ask you a question though, MVG, with that?
And then I have a question.
Can it run Crysis? That's just what I want to know. Yeah. Can it run Crysis?
Well, I think it's got enough juice, like as far as the motherboard and the processor to do it, but stay tuned, OJ, for that one.
That was not a real question.
Sean's question.
Does it play burned discs?
Yeah, yes, it does. Yeah,
wow.
It does. Yeah, so
Beautiful.
If you've got burnt Saturn and PlayStation and Neo Geo CD, they'll all work fine.
I might just scoop that up. Okay, cool.
That got a hell of a lot more interesting.
But you can't. I don't want to talk about too much longer. But you can't side load like ISO images right now. But I'm sure someone will figure out how to do all that stuff when it gets released.
That video's this week.
Monday.
Yeah.
One more question.
Yes.
With 4MB Saturn games, does it just load them, or have you tried that? Or
yeah, it loads them. Yeah,
I'm shocked that Saturn games work like that. That's
dude.
amazing.
Saturn works really well. I'm just like.
Oh wait, I have one more question.
Oh my God.
PC Engine games that require the arcade cartridge to play the CD.
I haven't tested that yet. I'm doing that tomorrow. That's like the last part of my video. So I'll talk to you offline about it. But
yeah, Sean apparently. Sean has all these like check boxes.
One thing I do know it works with. It adds the 4 megabyte Saturn expansion by default, so you can do like Vampire Savior and the 4 megabyte games on the Saturn. It runs all those, no problem.
X-Men versus Street Fighter. Sweet.
Wow. Okay, interesting. Then we have Miss Click.
Hi.
How's it
I
going?
have nothing to add. I've just been playing Final Fantasy 7, but I'm not anywhere near as far as y'all. So
You're streaming it though, so like you're trying to play it all on stream. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I did find myself, I will say, like walking around like really slow, just like to take everything in, kind of like pan around, because it's like they put a lot of work but money into this. Like it's you can tell, you know. So it's like it's pretty cool. Like even the music, it was like chills. Constant chills.
There's plenty of time to walk slow in the game. You know, you could just keep.
No, I gotta do it now because then I won't do it later. And if I don't do it later,
they will force you to walk slow.
Oh,
yeah, they gotta load the next area, so they do that whole thing.
You'll start to recognize like why am I weaving down this? Oh wait, loads. That's right.
Why am I holding triangle to open this door?
I know we'll talk about it later, but it's cool because you get like more character development, like with characters that you normally wouldn't. And it's like, it's cool. And so I'm fine with that, you know, like take me on a journey, you know, it's not my money, it's, you know, so.
Evan actually dusted off the PlayStation 4 Pro. He plugged it in to play this game, so it must be a big deal.
Worked.
Yeah, that PS4 has been sitting in the corner for like a year.
Yep.
You still have Spider-Man, actually.
I beat it. I beat Spider-Man though.
Yeah, no, I let him borrow it. He still has it.
I think I also have Uncharted and other racing games. Yeah, Gran Turismo.
You're in Turismo. Yeah, I'll let you borrow those games. You still have them.
You swing by and drop them off. I'm not using them.
Yeah.
Hint, hint.
Bring him in. And then we got Jordan.
Hello.
Different camera angle.
Yep.
Are you closer to the TV? Is that why the camera is right here?
No, I mean the TV's still to the side of me, but not where I'm playing Final Fantasy. This is like I have that on like the nicest TV I have because, woo, that game's pretty.
Okay.
99% of the time.
Hell yeah.
And then Max.
Man, it is a good week, man. It is a great week. I guess I have probably played more Final Fantasy VII than 99% of the world still, but it's been fun watching everybody because I couldn't talk about it for a while there. There was so much, so it's cool seeing all the memes and stuff and seeing people stumble upon everything. And oh man, I just want to talk about it for hours.
Very cool. Very cool. Good to have you here. So let's other than Final Fantasy VII, did you guys play anything else outside of Final Fantasy VII? Okay, cool. Sean, why don't you hit us with what you've been playing this week other than Final Fantasy VII?
I played Vigor, and you know what? People are gonna say, "Hey, you're only talking about it because it was a sponsored video." Like, no. If the game was crap and I didn't want it, I would just say, "No, I'm not doing a sponsored video. I'll do a video of it on my own." Because I got into the beta before I even talked to these people about doing a sponsored video. But I thought, upon first glance, and I think a lot of people will, is that it was just PUBG-ish. And like, because that's sort of what the trailer looks like it looks like a PUBG game. But to me, it's so much more satisfying just because there's a million different ways to play it. And I think it's very fun. Like, there's no HUD system, there's no 100 people on the map. It's 8 to 12 people. You get in to the match, you either want to get your resources or kill people and take their resources. Like, it's very tense. There are matches where you won't see anyone for the whole match. There are matches where you'll end up seeing people right out of the gate and you're like, okay, do I want to kill this person or do I want to even get in a gunfight with them? Because if they kill you, you lose everything on your person. So for instance, say you go in with like an AK, a shotgun, and a couple healing items or something. If a person kills you, those items are gone from your inventory forever. So like it's definitely a lot of strategy in the game. The Switch version, I think they need to tighten up the controls a little bit, and the graphics definitely need to be improved. Like I told them that, I was like, yo, these graphics are pretty muddy. But even so, like I think it's going to be a really fun game, and I think they are going to improve the graphics. They're going to add in all the content from the Xbox One version of the game, and it'll actually have cross-platform play with the Xbox One version too. So it's pretty dope.
It's a free-to-play game.
Yeah, it's free to play. That's another thing. So like, I mean, how the fuck are you going to complain about like a free-to-play game if you don't like it? Like, just uninstall it.
You ever heard people talk about Fortnite before?
That's true. That's true. I would say this is kind of off topic, but like I would say free to play games are like some of the hardest games to review because you're like, it's free. You know what I'm saying? Like, luckily, all the ones that I play, because like I won't play any of the card games on the Switch that are free to play, like the the card battling games, because I don't like those games. But like Warface, Warframe, and now Vigor, it's like, and Fortnite too. It's like, I mean, they're fun and they're free to play. Like, why?
Okay. What about Stealth? What'd you play this week other than Final Fantasy 7?
I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing, and today there is a fishing event, and because it's still in the middle of the Easter event, you can fish eggs, the very first fish I caught was an egg, and I went ballistic. And
dude, I'm sticking to
what happens tomorrow in Animal Crossing?
The bunny comes, Zipper T Bunny, I think that's his name. He comes.
The one that looks psychotic.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he gives you, I think, 3 exclusive items. And the egg rate goes up even more, which is fantastic.
Is that possible?
True.
That's
I can't wait to start playing this game on Monday.
They nerfed it, and we're like, oh, we're just gonna raise it back up on Bunny Day, and we're like, please no, just don't do it again.
On Monday, all the eggs go away.
Yeah, it goes away.
I know.
Oh, okay, cool. Good.
This event was awful.
Well, maybe they'll look at this and say, okay, maybe we shouldn't do that next time.
I think, and it's just for me personally, because I time traveled in all the other games. I never started playing the game necessarily around a holiday. So I think because people have started this game and a lot of people haven't just gave into the time travel yet, they're going day by day, and it drags the event out so much.
Why is the event 12 days?
I mean,
that's a good question.
So 12 days of
how they
Jesus.
are. Like they'll do that.
I get for Toy Day having 25 days of whatever, leading up to it. But because obviously it's based off of Easter, when did Easter become half a month event? It's a weekend event if at best.
I think they do it for the people who
3
play
days
by calendar and only for an hour a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like an
hour a day. An hour a day is all you need for the Easter. Hour at once is it? You can do it all in an hour. I don't know. It's just really annoying. Turned me off from really wanting to play the game as much because of every time I fish. Literally, I have not caught a regular fish in so long.
It's just eggs.
Really?
Yeah.
Just eggs.
Did you play after the update?
Did you
play
after the update as well.
Oh wow! Because I was catching.
I am barely catching fish, and I'm not having fun doing the stuff I want to do right now. Luckily,
before they lowered the rate, it was brutal.
Yeah, before they lowered the rate, it was horrible. It was.
I still think it is pretty brutal.
Yeah, I mean, what really annoyed people was that the event started on April 1st, which was when all the new fish and all the new stuff was supposed to come in. So instead of getting all of that, you were getting eggs.
Yeah.
Well, what if they changed the shadow that's in the water to a different shape or something for if it's an egg?
It helped.
I think that'd be a good balance. Yeah.
That only covers some of it.
Egg acts like a fish.
That is a little weird to me. Yeah, that is strange. Somehow the egg found its way.
Comes in, backs away 4 times, and then you find out it's an egg.
That's how eggs act.
I'd rather just pull up a boot at this point.
Oh man. What about Nate? Hit us with it, Nate. What'd you play?
I played Vigor.
What else did you play?
What else did I play?
Oh my gosh.
I think I played some weird ass eShop game. I don't remember the name of it.
I don't doubt it. Okay. Was it something off of Keymailer or something?
No, it's actually from a decent company. It just had a weird name, and I don't remember. It was I think it was an RPG actually.
Okay. Go on.
But I mean, there was a better RPG that came out this week, so I didn't really pay attention to it much because it doesn't come out for another 2 weeks. So it's kind of you can wait.
the game that came out this week is 5 years technically in the making, or 23 years for people who are really into it. Yeah. So I get that.
Yeah. So I guess Vigor is the only weird game of the week this week. I mean, I still played some Cat Without Salad.
Did you play the Tasmanian Tiger?
No, I did not. I actually forgot that game came out. I saw it on the eShop. I was like, wow, nobody talked about it.
Yeah, it came out. It came out the 31st.
I played that game on the PS2. No,
PS2. It was PS2 and GameCube. Yeah.
I played it on the GameCube. That's what I played it on, because I remember renting it at one point, and it didn't come with the manual. It was just, I think it might have been from Hollywood Video. It didn't come with the manual, so I didn't know what I was doing in the game. But I remember playing that. I didn't know that came back out on the Switch this past week. Maybe I'll check that out.
Yeah, nobody knew it came out this past week, so it's kind of forgotten already.
I didn't see like any PR. Like I didn't even get a PR email for it, like saying, "Hey, this game is coming out." Which is
it was a Kickstarter, right? So they probably got their funding for it. So there's like push it out. Whoever buys it buys it. Maybe I'll check that out though.
That's not a good marketing plan.
Well, they're probably limited on budget anyway.
Secure the bag, damn it.
But, what game was that?
Ty the Tasmanian Tiger.
Oh yeah.
They're gonna do a couple of them. Aren't they gonna do all 3 of them?
I think that was the plan if there was enough interest in the first one.
They said if it sells enough, then they'll look into more.
They might want to tell some people about the first one.
Right? Maybe advertise the first one.
They might want to tell some people about that. Yeah, that it exists. I'll check it out. How much is it?
20.
Yeah, I think it's $20.
I'm looking going back off then. Okay.
On my quick computer here.
Look at that. Wow. Okay.
But yeah, I saw that this past week. I was like, I felt like this would have been the game Sean would have been hyping up the previous week, and I was like, no one talked about this. And
I didn't really play it as a kid or when I was younger, so
you weren't a kid when it came out.
Oh wait, Ty the Tasmanian Tiger is $30, folks.
That's even worse.
Yeah, that's a bit much
for that boomerang, dude. I don't know about that.
I remember the original magazine ad.
No, it looks good, but 30? I mean, like,
it's 1080-60, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. 17 levels in the Australian outback, 13 different boomerangs.
Whoa. Now I'm
improved graphics, including updated shadows, reflections, and HD resolutions.
They should have got MVG a sponsorship. They missed opportunity.
What the hell?
I've got a new game from the homeland just right here.
It has many
such a missed opportunity.
Wow. Oh man, I did play Nate. I did finish up Ori this past week before Final Fantasy VII came out.
Nice.
Will of the Wisp is done.
Have they patched? Have they fixed the performance on that game?
They patched it this week.
Oh, they did.
It was like a 2 GB patch.
But have they fixed the performance?
That might have been before I finished then, because there were still a few little stutters for me. But that was like early this week before 7 came out.
Definitely gonna check. I'm definitely gonna get back into it if they fix everything.
I finished it. The ending was sad as I expected, but it was good. I liked it. I like the game. So that is a game a lot of people should try out. So it's on Game Pass, but I'm sure because the first one came over to the Switch, I'm sure they'll move it eventually as well to try to get it some more exposure.
I'll have to optimize the hell out of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, Cuphead came over pretty well, and that already ran pretty well on the Xbox. But
yeah, I mean, this is Will of the Wisp barely could run on an Xbox One X.
Yeah, but I feel like that has something to do with just the game itself. Like, I think the
programming. I don't think that's the system.
I mean, Unity doesn't run well on Switch in most cases, but Moon Studios, I mean, they're a good studio. If they want to port it over to the Switch, they'll take the time necessary to make sure it runs well. I mean, Ori and the Blind Forest ran better on Switch than it technically did on the Xbox.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. But I mean, the game is good. I think everyone should check it out. Absolutely. But then I got Final Fantasy VII on Thursday, and that was kind of it. So, and I played Skate 3, Jordan.
Oh, good.
Did you play Skater XL on the PC yet?
No.
Okay. Did you play Sessions yet?
Nope.
Okay.
Did you go outside this week and skate?
No.
Hey, well, good news, Jordan. Jordan, good news. Skater XL is coming to consoles in July.
I'm looking forward to that game.
It's on the calendar.
I really want to see Sean's take on it when you actually play it, because it was aggravating at first, but then it became
I'll probably
over time.
I'll probably have a lot of patience with it, just because like back in the day, when Tony Hawk was big, me and my friends would play Tony Hawk, but our favorite game was Thrasher Skate and Destroy on the PS1 because it was more realistic. Because I skateboarded for 10 plus years regularly, so I always enjoyed the more realistic style of stuff, and I like how they're saying when you do a kickflip, your board will rotate different ways. It won't be a perfect kickflip every time. It's not just a pre-stock animation, which to me sounds fantastic, because that's well,
the one stick controls your left foot, the other one controls your right foot, and you have to move them in different ways to do the tricks. That's why the board won't always do it the same way.
So wasn't that kind of like, what was it, Project 8? Where you had that with the foot controls when you would go into that mode?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I thought that was dope. That was one of my favorite, after Tony Hawk just kind of became that churn out franchise. I actually thought that was a step in the right direction. Granted, you would do like kickflip, underflip, 360, shove it out on the same fucking trick, but it still gave you a little bit more realism.
You're not doing that in Skater XL. It's actually like you barely get enough clearance to do like a 360 flip.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Thanks to Ezra Groot fam for membering up. Thank you for joining us. Evan has those emotes on there to use. Let's go over here to MVG.
Well, other than Final Fantasy, I finished Resident Evil 3 and I played through it again to see if I could get a better ranking, and I kind of got bored halfway through it. So
I gotta be honest, I beat it once and I'm like, that's it. I'm done.
I know we talked about last week. The game is fine. There's nothing wrong with the game, but it's just, I just want more. That's all. I just wish they had more content in that game, and I'd be very happy. Other than that, Final Fantasy, obviously.
Yeah, and of course retro stuff.
And about 50 retro Sega Saturn games as well into that mix.
That's awesome, man. That system's gonna get me collecting Sega Saturn games. That is dangerous.
You're gonna be broke as shit.
That is dangerous.
One other thing, I don't know if we mentioned this, but you can install the games onto the hard drive. So you can like rip the game onto the device. So you put them in once, you rip them, and then you can play them off the device. So you never need the CD.
Well, hold on,
again.
Sean. This apparently plays burn games, so Apparently, you just get this and you're good to go.
Yeah, like that's how much storage does it have?
It comes with 32, but you can expand it. There's like an M2 SSD slot in there.
Oh, they have an M.2 in there?
Yeah, it's pretty good, man. Like these guys know what they're doing. But you can also just expand it with like USB storage, I think, as well.
How large is the slot? Because obviously you get like a shorter one or a taller one.
I'll get back to you on that. I haven't looked at it yet.
Man,
I'll let you know.
That thing sounds sick. I'm gonna have to see that video on Monday.
It's pretty sweet.
What about
one more question. How does it handle multi-disc games? No issues?
I haven't tried that yet. I'll find out.
Okay.
And let you know. I don't know, but I'm sure it will work.
This plays PS1 games too.
It does, yeah. Yeah.
Oh wow, okay. This is exciting stuff.
It plays PS1 games?
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
It does like everything. Like
okay, I like PS1. Like there's a handful of games that I really love on PS1, so that actually gets me like a little bit more interested in.
We need to get
Chrono Cross. Like I can play Chrono Cross on that.
We need to get Polymega to fucking sponsor this cast. How much we've been talking about it.
I might be buying one.
I think I might be buying one because
send them an email. I'm not really sure actually. It's coming out soon though. I know that it's like they're doing beta tests right now. This is like the first round.
July 6th.
This thing has attachments, right? So you pop an attachment, pop one on.
Yeah, and they didn't send me those. Like you can like put in different attachments and play different games. Like you can do one for Genesis and one for Super NES and one for NES.
Where's that Nintendo 64 attachment?
It doesn't have one. Here's the list. You got PlayStation, PAL PlayStation, Japanese PlayStation, Saturn, PAL Saturn, Japanese Saturn, Genesis Mega Drive, PAL version, Japanese. 32X all regions, which is great. Pick up this complete 32X guide to learn what games to play. Sega CD all regions. Sega CD 32X games. That's actually freaking sweet as hell. TurboGrafx 16, CD, PC Engine CD2, Super Arcade PC Engine, Super Graphics, Neo Geo CD all regions. NES, Super NES, and Super Famicom.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
and all the disc, I believe all the disc games play on the stock unit. You don't have to get any of the,
which is what I have. I don't have the add-on modules. I think it's $299 for the base, and then you can buy the add-on modules as well.
Interesting.
That's really interesting because I kind of want to get into like streaming like some PS1 RPGs. So it's that'd be like really cool to like.
Yeah, base is 300.
That's not bad.
Buy that.
Not if you can stream it. You don't have to deal with the PS3's HD protection.
Dude, PS3. First of all, my room becomes a heater with the PS3. Your room becomes a heater with that fat PS3. I really can't. I don't like streaming on PS3.
Man, interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye on that. When you said it's dropping in July?
Yeah, according to their website, they're anticipating shipping out new orders on July 6th. Ooh. And they actually have some controllers that are modeled after the certain systems as well. That's kind of cool. I didn't know they did that. They have like a Genesis 6-button controller, a SNES style, a NES style, and a Turbo style.
Let me know when they play Game Boy and Game Boy Advance.
They'll probably make a module for it.
I bet they will.
What's that other thing coming out that has like that's playing Game Boy and Game Boy?
The analog.
the analog
handheld.
Yeah, we need more. You can update on that.
You can dock it though, and it can play on the TV too.
Yeah, they went quiet with that.
Well, I mean, have you even followed their social media? They tweet out a picture of it every day. It's driving me nuts.
Yeah, I know.
Here's thing in 8K.
Yeah, like, can I have details, please?
Yeah, I need that thing.
So
I need that thing.
I found there was a Twitter I stumbled upon that just has like calendars, and it just says like days since they another day without announcing the Analog Pocket release date, and it's like circling on.
Let's move over here to OJ.
Yeah, I played Animal Crossing before Final Fantasy VII came out, and still having a lot of fun with that. I guess a little bit luckier than Jordan after the update. Still got some eggs, but I was able to catch a bunch of new fish and go to a bunch of different islands. And so I'm still having fun with that. But as soon as Final Fantasy VII came out, I was like all into that because I played it back in the day when it first came out. I thought it was great. Couldn't afford a PlayStation at the time, but I would go over to my friend's house and play it. Yeah, I'd play it so much. Like I would do all the power leveling for him. And he would do like the story parts and I would just watch because he hated that crap. And sometimes he would do like the boss battles, but I would do like a lot of the grinding and like the super bosses and stuff like that. So seeing it in this game, it's so cool. Like I know we're gonna have a segment where we're talking about it later, right? So I'm not gonna get too much into it, but I played a ton of it. I think I put about 16 hours into it. I think that's the most I've ever played a game like in that amount of time. So I put so much time into it. Big Final Fantasy fan, not as big as Max, but still a big Final Fantasy.
Man, you and I talked about it. We're both like mega fans.
I don't talk about as much Final Fantasy just because the games haven't been as good. Let's just be real. The games have been pretty bad. 15's
gotten weird, yeah.
You know, they've gotten this 15's not. It's okay. It's good, but they haven't been up to this echelon, you know, in a long time. So it's cool to finally get a Final Fantasy game, and everyone's like, "Wow, this is really good." You know, like this is a pretty good game. So I've been playing. Yeah, I put 16 hours into it, doing every single little thing, trying to 100% it, and you know, so I'll probably have it beat by Monday, probably maybe Monday, maybe Tuesday. I don't know. I'm playing it a lot.
They get misclick. Where are you playing? Where are you playing before Final Fantasy 7? Did I get you?
Final Fantasy and Animal Crossing, yeah.
Okay, yeah, cool. And Evan, I know, just played Final Fantasy for the most part. Did you play anything else, or was it mostly Final Fantasy?
Couple of rounds of Bleeding Edge, a little bit of Animal Crossing. That's
I still see you play Bleeding Edge. I'm actually pretty impressed with this because I thought you'd be on your way past that, but you're still.
I'm pretty much on my way past it.
Okay.
It's cross play, so I'm
Grounded's coming up next, right?
Maybe.
I'm just kidding.
I experienced some of the console players on it, and it's just like, this isn't the community for me. These are not good people.
What about Max? You just played Final Fantasy 7, haven't you?
I decided to. So my buddy that I grew up with, who introduced me to Final Fantasy and Resident Evil, he's still a buddy of mine now as an adult, and he came over, and he's broke right now because of all this virus stuff. So he couldn't afford Final Fantasy or Resident Evil 3 Remake. So we've been playing through them both on hardcore. Mm-hmm. So I played a bunch of Resident Evil 3 on the hardest difficulty, and it's really easy. It kind of seems like maybe they screwed up and need to patch it. Like the hard mode isn't really that much harder. It just gives you a few less bullets and a few less crafting materials. But it's weird.
You're just really good at the game. I don't want to.
I don't think it's.
You're really good at Resident Evil.
I think it's actually that the dodge is too strong. I'll still stand by that. The fact that you can press a button and if you time it right, you just take 0 damage. I feel like that makes any game, once you get good at it, it makes any game on any difficulty easy.
Okay.
Cool. All right.
I've been watching.
But I'm also a pro. Yes, I'm definitely.
I've been watching a ton of Resident Evil. People have been getting jacked up on the harder difficulties. So I think it's a combination. Maybe it's a bit too easy, and maybe you're also really good at it. So.
And I'm going really slow. I'm not trying to speed run it. So if you're going half a mile an hour in every room, you never get jump scared. So.
Evan, you want to hit us with a Discord question?
With Animal Crossing selling so well on the Switch, what do you think will be the #1 best-selling exclusive for both Xbox and PlayStation
this year?
Yeah.
Are they gonna have games out this year?
I mean, Halo Infinite
or the Last of Us. If
they launch this year, I mean,
Halo Infinite and Last of Us make this year. I'm gonna say
does
those two.
Final Fantasy VII Remake count?
I mean, I guess for this year,
yes,
because I would say that's probably the game. Maybe The Last of Us 2 if it actually comes out this year. Halo Infinite if it comes out this year.
Cyberpunk. We think it's going to keep. Oh, I guess, yeah.
Oh, it was just exclusive. Yeah, exclusive. So, I mean, Final Fantasy will be on, we assume, PC and Xbox next year.
Yeah.
But for this year, it's just on PlayStation. So I guess it's called timed exclusive, right? So I guess we'll throw
There's like a sticker, too, that says it on there or something like that.
Yeah, it's right on the plastic.
Because
you're exclusive till April 10th, 2021.
It's coming out that day. That day.
We know when it's coming out next year.
I saw people like saying that. It's like, come on.
They're already starting the advertising, man.
Yeah. How many copies did the original Last of Us sell?
20.
20. Yeah.
Yeah, that's over 2 generations. That's over the PS3 and the PS4 because they added like remaster in there.
Yep.
But
so is this one.
This one's like, yeah.
This one's definitely cross-gen.
It's probably gonna. It might launch in the same week as the PS5.
I think it needs to be a launch title at this point. Like, there's no point in launching it right before.
As well.
Like, yeah.
I was on that Crossfire podcast yesterday, and they were speculating that what they might do is if it gets pushed back far enough, if it's even close to the PlayStation 5's release, what they may do is sell it and as a PlayStation 4 game, but maybe even advertise it of like, if you buy this, it'll automatically get a PS5 update. So just buy it. Like, it's like that way they can make sure it still sells well, because we all know this historically. A lot of times late gen games sometimes don't sell as well. So,
or what you do, I mean, well, because The Last of Us, the first one, was in the same situation. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
You know, same exact thing. It still sold really well, but of course the architecture with Cell and everything that they're doing, you can't just easily bring that over. You take some time to remaster it. I think that there's like the guys that you're talking about on the Crossfire podcast. There's no point in really just like holding on to it, or like releasing it right before. Just you should launch it like exclusive, like a system, right? Like a PS5, like Last of Us Part 2 system,
and like fly off the shelf.
Put a clicker. Yeah, dude. If they put a clicker on it, people buy that thing up.
Special edition, all that stuff. So I think that'd be cool.
Okay, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Ooh.
It's not the full story. It's a ripoff.
Oh my god.
That's a ripoff ever.
Okay, so it's out. I picked it up on Thursday. I don't know. I know Max got it like last week.
Yeah, last Wednesday.
He found it in like an alleyway somewhere. Back up,
Dracula came down and said, "Will you sell your blood for?"
It started. They basically Square just said, if you get it, go ahead and sell it, whatever. And that's why even Best Buy sold it on Thursday, along with like GameStop and Target. They just started selling it on Thursday. They didn't care.
Yeah.
So Best Buy was right next to the Target. I was going to buy groceries, and I read online that if you just pre-order on their website, they'll have like this drive-by service where you don't even get out of your car. They just hand you the game through your car window. So I was like, all right. So I bought it while I was buying groceries at Target, and I get out and it's right next to Target. So I just drove by and they literally just handed it through the window. That was it.
Oh my god!
Nice.
It took like 2 seconds. It was like a rolling stop almost. They're like, there you go.
Man, that was not my experience at all.
Really? Oh, you went and did it.
I'm like trying to like buy as many games that I can that I know I'm not gonna get, because I have like 9 days left of my gamers club. So I've just been like, what am I getting? What am I getting? I gotta get everything. Like, yo, if you need something, let me know.
The legendary gamers club.
Yeah, because I got it. Like, my last day was the anniversary of God of War. I'll always remember it as 420, but no, but they were doing like the curbside.
I don't know. Quick, go ahead, explain a little bit.
At Best Buy, April 20th. No, April 20th, the day that God of War launched.
No, okay, you said something else.
That's Labo Day.
That's when it launched, was 420. Turn up, God of War. God.
Okay, no problem. I thought you were saying something else. Click.
No,
okay.
God of War. It's a great game. If you haven't played the new one, you should go play it.
It's great. I've got it. It's cool.
Yeah.
Really stone you.
No, but the curbside pickup was horrible, dude. People were like cutting lines with their cars. People were like fighting. They couldn't like find people's orders. They're like, "Where's my microwave?"
Well, wait,
Florida.
Yeah, exactly. You live in Florida. That's kind of
that's Florida stuff.
Yeah, they were serious here.
I think it generally was because I got there around like 5:15ish, but they closed at 6 because of all the virus stuff. But everybody was getting off of work, so then they just like started lining up, and it was like, yo, I hope I get this before they actually close.
This was at like 3:30 on my end.
Okay, yeah.
So I just rolled right by. They were like, "What's your order number?" I already had it pulled up, and they walked in for a second, came right back out, and handed it right to me, and I was out. So it was quick.
Yeah.
But it was good. Yep, got it on Thursday, so I started it then. But I think a lot of us are close to halfway through the game. So we're not. Well, Max finished it, but the rest of us couldn't even spoil the ending anyway. So we'll talk about 7, but we won't really talk about too many of the late game story or mid game story stuff anyway. Although to be fair, Square already spoiled some of it in their trailer. So
I didn't watch that trailer either.
I didn't watch it either.
I did. I had to because I knew it was at the end. I had to watch it.
No,
I had to watch it.
They should not have released.
I had to. I had to see.
No,
Should have put out
it
a
was.
disclaimer or something.
Yeah.
Well, you already know when you know it was going to be a spoiler. You can just tell it was going to be a spoiler just by like what they put in the. It was, you already knew. I already knew.
had to see it.
I don't watch trailers anymore.
Yep. Ever since the Star Wars trailer with at the end,
one,
you know.
That one got me hyped though. That Final Fantasy 7, even though there were some spoilers in it, it still got me hyped though because of what was at the end.
Another thing is there's no reason to have that trailer because there's a demo. It's like you can make your decision for the most part. Are you gonna buy it or not? The demo, you can play it. There's no point in releasing that in that way that they did it.
The weird thing is the ending part that the people were pointing out as a spoiler would only spoil it for people who know Final Fantasy 7 like that. Like Jordan would just be like, I don't know what that was, but cool, I guess. Like,
I mean, I can put 2 and 3 together. You get 5.
Did you watch 23? The trailer?
Yeah, I saw the trailer.
That you saw the ending of it, the one they put out.
The launch trailer. Yeah, I saw it.
I don't really think if you don't really play Final Fantasy 7 or any of the spin-offs,
I mean,
how you would know what's happening.
I know a lot of beat points of Final Fantasy 7 without playing it because it's one of those games where I don't know how you make it through life without knowing some of the major stuff that happens. So like I could put 2 and 2 together. I know from other basic knowledge and how much I've played how they're setting up certain events that are going to happen, like very in your face. If you have no idea, maybe if you have any if you're big into understanding progression of character development, then maybe you'll understand what's I don't know. I know what's happening. I get it. All right, I get it. I ain't stupid. That's stupid. I'm slightly stupid.
Anyway, it is the first part of Final Fantasy 7 essentially, so it's just Midgar. But I like that. I actually, from what I've played so far, I like the in-depth look at Midgar and kind of setting things up for what's going to end up probably being 4 games in the series.
So the question I have for everybody now that y'all played it, is this not the most beautiful game you've probably ever seen?
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
It's 99%.
Yeah, 99%. There's some weird texture issues, of course, but just how much you can just walk around when you're seeing the sky and seeing Midgar and
when you walk out in the daytime, the start after the initial demo mission, the initial first mission, that was one of the most breathtaking moments of the game. I was like, okay, there's a lot of money put into this game to make it look pretty. Yeah,
I have to sit there and do a double take sometimes, like how amazing it looks. Like for me, the scenes that really stood out were when you're in the train and you're just kind of walking through the carriages and there's all the passengers sitting down. It looks freaking amazing. Like the graphics are some of the best I've ever seen, but there's also the texture pop-in issues and the low-res textures sometimes
they're just missing texture sometimes.
So
missing for sure.
It needs a bit of polish, but I mean overall it's a beautiful looking game. Probably one of the best games this generation. Best looking games this generation.
This is getting that PS5 patch, right, MVG?
100%. I can't wait for the PC version whenever that drops because that will look incredible. I think.
The one thing
they showed us the PC version.
Oh yeah, I didn't watch that trailer. Yeah, I don't watch trailers.
It was in the thank you message.
That was funny.
Put out at the bottom. It says gameplay recorded on PC.
The one thing I think a lot of people say, no, Death Stranding is the best looking game. That's apples and oranges to me. Because when you look at the world of Death Stranding, it's like the world. You know what I'm saying?
Empty.
It's empty. There's nothing going on. With Final Fantasy VII, you have all these people, especially when you're in Midgar, you have all these people just, in this little area, in such a high area. And I would like to see Death Stranding with more population in it and more variety in environments. I don't think it would have looked as good as this does. Death Stranding has the ability to sort of mask things because of just how barren everything is, because that's the design of the game. I personally feel I'm playing on a base PS4. I played both games on a base PS4. I personally feel that Final Fantasy VII looks better than Death Stranding. Yes, it does have more noticeable quirks, but as a whole, what it's trying to encompass, I think it does a fantastic
So,
job.
so kind of like what Witcher 3 did with
Yeah.
its with the cities, with the packed in people, and then the open areas out, like how they cluttered stuff together.
Yeah.
I feel like that did a little bit better.
My thing is what you were saying, Spawn, is how the character models, like there's a moment super early in the story where there's a big TV in the center of town and there's a crowd of people watching like a news report, and they're like mumbling about the news and scared and worried and like rumoring among themselves, and you can turn away from the TV, which looks super realistic, and see each of the character models like individual facial reactions and voice syncing. It's crazy.
Which is interesting with that, because like at times, you know, in that area, like there'll be a lot of variety, but then other times there'll be like two people that look exactly alike right next to each other.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, or like 3 or 4 like that are somewhat spread apart. But yeah, you're right though, Max. I mean, I think that's the really cool thing about the games, that they did do a good job with the overall like reactions and the facial expressions, and the lip syncing is really good. Like I think that the voice acting is absolutely amazing. You're gonna care about these characters way more. I think the emotional impact kind of hits a little bit harder than the original Final Fantasy ever could, because of the pacing of the game. The game is paced like a Last of Us or like a modern game. You know, you don't have the type of areas and locations like you did back in the day. So that was the cool thing that I like. I think the game was built for people that play, like that will play today, so it can get a lot more people to kind of get it, you know.
That's something I'm glad that we're touching on. I think the game is very interestingly both an RPG and both a somewhat linear storytelling, you know, progression. Like you get these pseudo open world areas within the cities or environments you get to go to throughout the game, but you always have this inertia pushing you forward, and you're always moving forward, always going somewhere. It's always pushing you to the next story element, or to check out a little bit of this area, but then hey, let's go over here now.
Yeah,
and I think it's very interesting how they're handling, still trying to keep it like an RPG, but also still trying to give you a really incredible storytelling experience. So it's interesting.
Hated that too, by the way. I loved it because it's great. It's like really cool and fun to play, and they can focus on other things. But it's one of the things that I felt that was just like, I think now that I've played so much, and it's like it's kind of lacking that like true like open RPG feel, or like an RPG feel to where you can, like so many times like you're walking somewhere, hey, you can't go that way, turn back around. It's like, and then
it doesn't
run into invisible walls all the time, you know,
Oddly, I kind of liked that after a bit, because I felt like there's always a cost in Final Fantasy VII Remake. It feels like when you're leaving an area, you're always sad to leave that area because you normally can't go back. There are invisible walls. There are carrots on a stick leading to the next thing. And I kind of like that. I like that when I go to the next part of the story, it's like, damn, I really feel like I'm stuck here. And I don't know, I feel like they did it in a way that matched it narratively. But yeah, it's weird the times where there's like a left and a right path, and you take one step to the left, and it literally pops up a giant no sign and goes, nope, not left right now. What you just put it here?
It really, like, the whole RPG element of it doesn't really kick in unless you're in a battle. It feels like everything else just feels like you're playing and being a part of this really cool story, and then when the battle starts, then you can do all the RPG stuff that you may be familiar with. So it's a very interesting way, and I can understand if people are disappointed if this is not the game they were expecting or wanted because of these facts. But I find myself enjoying it.
Who's disappointed with this game? Dude, this was the game that like
people who may have wanted turn-based type.
This is the game that I imagined playing when I was playing Final Fantasy VII on the PlayStation.
I agree.
I wish it was like this, and this is what we got. So why would you be unhappy with this game? This game is a freaking masterpiece. Honestly, it's so good.
The thing of it is like, if you're unhappy with this game, like you're surprised, like, wow, this isn't what I expected. Like, did you not play the demo? Did you not look at any of the coverage of this game in the past 5 years since it's been announced? Right. Like they've always said that it's going to be different than Final. Like, it's not even, I don't even really consider it to be a Final Fantasy VII remake, as in a remake of the original game. It's more of a reimagining or a retelling in which you have the setting and you have the characters from the first game, and that's it. Everything else is different.
It's only remake by name, because when you completely fundamentally change how a game is played and still call it a remake, it's not a remake. They just it's a new game.
I think if they would have called it like Final Fantasy VII, blah blah blah. You know, had it something at the end of it instead of remake. I think people wouldn't have cared if they would have known that it was an extension. Like people, I guess, wanted a 1-to-1 replication of Final Fantasy VII. That's kind of like what's
the problem. The problem they run into that is if they remade Final Fantasy VII 1-to-1 with all the extra stuff they've brought in with like Crisis Core and they even had that cell phone game that explained some random stuff and Dirge, like all these other things and the lore, the books, and all the stuff they put out. The original game wouldn't really make sense anymore if they brought it up and just did a 1-to-1 with this big graphical overhaul and tried to make it this big story again. They'd have to change things.
There was a leak a couple of years ago that a lot of people were we couldn't tell if it was real or not, but there was a leak about 3 or 4 years ago that the project was originally going to be called Final Fantasy VII Midgar. And so the first one would be and they were going to label it like that to try and tell you, this isn't exactly telling the original story. This isn't exactly a remake, but this first chunk is definitely Midgar. And I think that
I would have preferred that. Yeah,
I think that would have been a better idea.
Do you think, all right, so do you think this entire game started as them looking at it and saying we're just going to remake the entire game, and that midway through they decided to do it episodic because it was becoming so massive? You think
absolutely not.
You think like 2 years after that tech demo came out for the PS3 and they started looking at this, you think they were like, we're going to do it episodic?
I think they realized kind of like an oh shit moment, kind of.
They had
there's so much we want to tell.
They restarted development on this thing. They had like trouble development.
Yeah, there were rumors that Tri-Ace was developing it.
This was the same scope as what we got. When they started the development of the game, they basically had to sit there and say, we have to recreate this entire city. We have to come up with these new story narratives. We have to come up with a whole new concept. It's easier for us on a development standpoint to commit ourselves to 5 years to this one episode where we can then build off this for the following episodes. If they tried to make the entire game, it would have been a 10-year project. So from get-go, it was, we're going to address this episodically. And like we've always assumed, it has to be 2, 3, 4 chapters. It doesn't. This could be, a trilogy makes sense just from a marketing point, so it will probably be 3. But this is a Final Fantasy reimagining of 7. This isn't a remake. This is nothing that anyone has really anticipated. The story is changing. The character interactions have changed. What we think Final Fantasy 7 is or was is not what this game is going to be. This is an entirely new experience, and we have to remove ourselves from the Final Fantasy VII that we played back in 1997.
Square Enix did a bad job of letting people know about that. They're showing the same scenes. They're showing those characters. They're not putting part 1. They fumbled the marketing from the very beginning. They put it on the back. They hide it. So I mean, that's on Square Enix.
They use the same cover art.
Yeah, they use the same cover art. You can't do all that, then expect people to be like, oh, well, this is a completely different. They're going to expect, hey, well, give me all of my Final Fantasy VII.
They used nostalgia to sell this game initially. They wanted you to get excited of seeing that first scene of the train coming into the reactor station. So people who played the original set said, oh my God, this is Final Fantasy VII. And I mean, that's a factor in it. You want to get the nostalgia, but they also want to say, this is a new game. This is a new story. You're going to see similarities, but we're going to expand it. We're going to change it. What you played 20 years ago is not what you're going to play today. And that's why we see, some people having a major backlash to what they experience. And this isn't the game I want, because it got, as some people are saying, it got no moored, which means it got fucking weird for no reason whatsoever.
I mean, yeah, I guess. I think another cool way to look at it, though, to spin it is like, like the movie treatment versus like a TV series treatment. You make a movie, and unless it's like Lord of the Rings or something, that are like 4 hours a piece, you don't really get to dive in very deep in a movie. Like the story has to progress unless you're going to milk it beyond what it should be with a lot of like what we see with like Marvel and stuff.
Yeah, you're saying it's expensive, yeah,
but I also like it though. Like they can take that more time because whether we assume that they're breaking it in thirds or not, they can like give again more depth and more character, more insight, and make it more cinematic. Like I'm sure that they would have liked to back then. I think for them it's kind of like back then the original game was like in one scene, right? One cutscene, there's maybe like 30 words said. It'd be like Barrett says like 3 words, Cloud says 1, then Jesse says, like it wasn't a lot, It's like there's a lot of content. Right. But like talking about how it's aged, like you wouldn't be able to have that same kind of scene on such a heavy topic that, you know, it even just deals with in the first third. You know, like you wouldn't just be able to have him be like my lead and then nothing else. You'd have been like, what the heck? You know
the cool thing though, I think that at the end of the day, it's like, for me, when I look at it, it's like, do you get value at, like, how much value do you get out of your $60? And I think that's what people should look at if you're still on the fence, you know. And like, look, I've given my criticism in terms of I'm not a fan of splitting things up, but I understand it. That's the thing. Like the way that now I've been playing and how I was looking, I was like, well, look, if you still get like, you know, 30, 40, 50 hours, whatever the case is, it's your $60 there. You're gonna get your game.
You understand the business.
Oh, I understand the business angle. First of all, you got to sell this game to people that like The Last of Us. You got to sell this game to people that like, Uncharted. I mean, that's the base of PlayStation. Like, that's where you're selling it first too. You've got to sell. And let's just be real here, guys. Turn-based RPGs just do.
Nope.
Persona 5 should be the best. Should be the best-selling game on PS4. That game, the Royal's amazing. It's so good.
JRPG has sold well, but like you're right. Turn-based RPGs, people look at that and go,
I'm not gonna buy it.
A turn-based RPG for me has to have something that initially pulls me in, that I'll be fine with doing the turn-based because I like everything.
Pikachu.
Like Pokemon gets me that way, but I have a feeling Persona will, because I was gonna start that. Final Fantasy VII came out, kind of ruined those plans.
If you like Pokemon,
is like 120 hours, Jordan.
If you like Pokemon, you'll like Persona eventually. Because you capture them and use them, you know. So.
Right, and I do want to get into that, but for the most part, I'm glad like that Final Fantasy VII is not a turn-based RPG. Right. Like, I'm glad that it's this way because I'm more excited and I like how the game, which I'm sure we're gonna get into combat and, you know, how it plays and all that. But like,
Dragon Quest 11 also. That's another weird one. Sorry, go ahead.
No worries. I'm just saying, like, I think it's fantastic. Like, I love the combat in the game and how dynamic it makes you feel when you have multiple people in your party and how you have to switch between them.
Dude, the combat is awesome.
Like what you were talking about, Max, like with the rude guy, and how you have to switch or else you're gonna get thrown in.
How some of the bosses. I mentioned that off air just on spoiling, but yeah, certain bosses require you to swap.
No one knows what I mean. Okay, I don't even know what I mean. You know, but you have to be dynamic.
Jordan said he's trying not to be rude. That's what he said.
I'm trying not to be rude.
He's trying not to be rude and spoil things.
If I even mention a boss name, I say Airbuster in the chat's like spoiler cast guy.
Can we talk about the combat? Or are we moving on to the next one, John?
We can talk about the combat. Yeah, combat's good.
Is the combat not the best Final Fantasy combat since what? Maybe
I would say
10?
So. Yeah.
10 or 12, something like that. Maybe
10 for me.
Yeah, the combat in this game is by itself. I think the game, even if the graphics sucked and the story was bad, the game would be still a 7 out of 10 because of the combat. The combat in this game is absolutely amazing. As you guys get further into the game, you're gonna see other stuff that they throw at you, and it's just awesome. Like, it's so cool. Like I said, no spoilers, but I love how they did the combat in this game. Like, it's kind of weird. Like, when you level up, it's kind of like not normal leveling up, like, you know, Max was talking about as well. But like, I love the stuff with the weapons. You know, like how you can unlock that and you put it in, and like you can get extra materia slots. You can level up the materia. That is fantastic, and it's so much fun I was about to say something stupid. It was so much fun to play the game. So there we go. I'm gonna move on.
You saw what happens in a lot of RPGs. Tend to run the issue, at least for me, when they try to give you too much and it's too complicated and it's not as cleanly put together with what everything means. And I think this game simplifies that system with upgrades and how you work with your weapons and other stuff that you eventually get. I think it works really well and understandable for even someone who may be new to this style of game or who could be confused by something like that. Because at first it's like, oh, this is a lot, but then it's actually a lot more simple than it looks. And I like that. I like that it caters to a wider audience that way.
Well, yeah, I think the combat system of it lends itself to be accessible to how you, the player, want to approach it. How I'm finding the combat is that it builds upon itself. A character that I could have trouble with a certain enemy type, but once I realize how to stagger him quickly by switching to like Aerith or Tifa, all of a sudden I'm beating him in 5 seconds, where originally it may have taken me 5 minutes because I didn't know how to exploit their weaknesses. And that's where every character that you fight against is a puzzle. And you have to figure out how to exploit that weakness. And once you solve that puzzle, they become pushovers. You feel almost overpowered.
Where was this love for this system with Final Fantasy 13? What happened here?
Wait,
Oh,
13?
that's a new thing. That's a new
You
thing.
can have a whole podcast on why 13 is bad if you want.
Yeah.
But I mean, the reason why people hated 13, the combat's nowhere near as good as this.
Oh, it's not as good as this, but
they're both linear. I mean, there's a lot of similarities in terms of just going forward until you get the Grand Pulse in 13. But man, the combat in 13
still had
is just
puzzles around some of the bosses and enemies and everything in the game.
Yeah, but the
13
combat
screws itself over many times over.
Oh, 13 wasn't that bad. 13 was fine.
13
was
trash can
fine.
heap. 13 was a trash can heap.
Oh,
But
13 was fine.
something that OJ hit on, which is totally freaking correct, which is that this game makes getting stronger so fun. Like when you upgrade your weapon, you feel so rewarded, where it's like, man, like I got this extra teleporter. I got a whole extra freaking materia slot. So now I can actually put lightning on all my characters and blow up more robots and stuff. I've been using a bunch of the assess materia, which is like what scan is. And it's funny that sometimes you'll scan these enemies and it'll have a whole paragraph explaining how to defeat them, like when they're in this phase. And I like that. It shows that clearly the developers love it. I mean, it seems like the developers loved every monster and every boss. Man, it's so fun.
Can I ask you guys a question real quick before, maybe I'm an idiot, I don't know, but I kept on thinking that this game, I'm like thinking like Mass Effect 2. I don't know why I'm thinking Mass Effect 2, but I'm thinking Mass Effect 2, especially when I use Barret. It just reminds me of like playing like a soldier, the soldier class on Mass Effect, and just like blowing stuff up as this. Yeah, I don't know why the combat feels, I kept on saying chunky. It feels chunky. You know where sometimes games feel kind of flimsy? Feels chunky.
No, it feels weighted in a good way. I know exactly what that means.
Have impact. Mass Effect 2 had that from Mass Effect 1. Mass Effect 1 was kind of flimsy, you know, when you shoot people. Mass Effect 2 made like a lot of weight and impact when you hit somebody, and I kind of get that same feeling. I don't know, that's the weirdest comparison, but I kept on saying that. People like, okay, I guess.
What do you think? What do you think about this game, Stealth? Hit us with it.
Yeah, I played about 15 hours of it yesterday. I played all day. It's really fun. I played Final Fantasy VII, the original, not that long ago, like maybe 3-4 months ago. So it was kind of surreal to me to like see scenes like when Cloud's jumping off the train. That was a crazy moment for me, just remembering that. Inside the train, and of course the slums was just mind-blowingly beautiful. Like the combat is super fun. I was surprised how smooth it is transferring between characters. It makes it really fun to use all of them, and I wasn't sure that was going to be the case. Like I kind of assumed, I'm just going to use Cloud the whole time, and then the NPCs are going to do whatever they want, and that wasn't the case. You kind of have to switch it up if you want to have an easier time with some of the bosses.
Aerith is more fun to use than I thought she'd be. So
yeah.
Are you having fun with her?
Yeah,
she's strong.
Really? No, not so much.
I mean, I mean, I used her, and she's cool. I mean, because like she can like use spells, right? To where you can. No, she's cool, but I don't know. I think it's a lot more fun to like beat the crap out of people with Tifa.
Tifa is the most fun to use. Yes. Tifa
she looks like she's on speed sometimes when she's she's just like she's punching so fast and kicking.
Aerith can one-shot people. Really, she has an ability where she can put down a circle on the ground, and any magic you cast while standing in it is doubled. So I unlocked all of her magic strength, so her casting would be the most powerful. And so I'd like throw one fire spell and it'd do like double fire again. And it's like, there's 1,000,000 damage. Cool.
When you stagger them too, like if you do that, and when they're staggered, it's lights out. So I mean, she's cool, she's powerful, so I use her, but it's at the same time, it's like she's just kind of.
It's interesting. This game, if the game flows together really well, I think that's why you're hearing a lot of people say they're playing for long sessions at once. There's not a lot of between chapters. It's interesting. It's just really the whole game just flows really, really well, and it's almost like me. I'm playing and I want to see the next cutscene. It reminds me of what it was like back in the 90s, where you would play the game looking for that next cutscene that would cut to better character models and all of this. This game is reminding me of that. So there are
Mass
some
Effect 2 or like Mass Effect where you just want to keep seeing the next thing and seeing the next thing.
I'm telling you, man. The game itself, though, it's good. It just flows together really, really well. And there's some cool scenes. They have some mini games in there, and there are some really uplifting scenes, some scenes that knock you down. It's just it's a roller coaster. I'm enjoying it. So looking forward to getting to the late part of the game where apparently things just go wild. So
if y'all want, I just want to make a suggestion. Is maybe like a SpawnCast After Dark, do it on the SpawnCast Plus or something, the second channel you run Spawnway. But when y'all all beat it, if you want to, I would like to do like a spoiler talk with everybody.
I was wanting to do that. I was going to talk to you about that, Max.
No, it's just with anybody who's up for it. Honestly, I'll wait. But whenever y'all get to it, I want to like sit down and talk to everybody.
We can definitely do that.
I'll absolutely do that.
Yes, absolutely, we can do that. That'll be really fun. So, so far so good. Halfway through, a little more than halfway through, and I'm enjoying it. So,
I'm taking my time, man. Like, there's nothing to play until May, so
Trials of Mana.
Yeah, I'll check it out. But I'm gonna just like meticulously go through everything I can in this game. I'm gonna be playing it for like the next couple of weeks.
Okay. Yeah, well, here's the thing. You might want to get through it the first time a bit quicker, MVG, because you go back through it again.
Yeah, right.
Like that. There's like, I think to get the platinum trophy, it basically is like play it again.
Yeah. So, I don't think I have a single platinum trophy on any game I've ever played ever. So
I don't even bother.
Probably not going to happen.
I
think I'm gonna platinum this thing. I'm definitely platinum this thing.
Same mojo.
I used the trophy on an achievement hunt, and then I realized, you know what? You need to be an adult, and that type of thing does not exist anymore when you actually have responsibility.
I left the adult status away when I started talking about video games on the internet. So it's all over.
I think once I had my daughter, when it was over for trophies.
That's a good reason.
A kid kills your achievement hunting.
Yeah.
I've been doing a platinum trophy on every Final Fantasy the last couple of years. So I got it for Final Fantasy 14. I got it for all the re-releases of 9 and 7 and 10 and all those. And a lot of them are very time consuming, but I definitely want to keep that streak alive and platinum.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is one of those games I'll actually have a lot of fun doing, because it has New Game Plus from what I've seen on there. Yeah, I think it even says it on the website.
Yeah. Well, it's more than that. It's chapter select. You can actually get your current character and just go to any part of the game.
That's cool. Okay.
So why hasn't Square Enix let us know how many chapters this game is going to be?
I almost think they don't know.
They don't know. John, you said you think it was going to be.
I think it's 4.
Someone else said 3. I heard yesterday someone said it was going to be 2. So why can't they just tell us? This is like Shenmue all over again.
I genuinely think it might be 2.
Really?
I'd be fine with 2 or 3. Yeah.
This game introduces so many concepts and stuff. I do feel like that they could just make the second game called The Hunt for Sephiroth.
My problem is
this is my counter to that. We can base it based on what we know of the original game to be. But let's say they do 3 parts. For all we know, part 3 is Advent Children in game form. Like, we don't know where this story will be. Will they go into Dirge of Cerberus? We don't know. And that's where I don't think they know where they want to conclude the story just yet.
Maybe.
Yeah. Because it could even be 3 parts, and then they end up just like, oh, you know what? Let's see if we can get a 4th out of this too. And the 4th one isn't even planned, but they still release it. It's not technically part of the trilogy. It's like
if there's
after years or something. You know,
they don't feel like they're dragging along. I mean, they can just keep making it. If they don't feel like they're dragging the story along,
let's be
I'm down for like 3 or 4.
Let's be real. Final Fantasy 7 makes them a lot of money, and they just realized, wait a minute, we could make a lot of money with Final Fantasy 7 if we go this route.
Even with this game, they could drag it, but if they put enough content in there and make the game good, then people might be like, all right, we're gonna keep going with it. But I think that now that they have the base built, then they can kind of. I do want to see them, as great as it is, kind of going straight through. I do want to see them open it up just a little bit on the next one, just a bit more. Open it up a little bit more. Make the side quests, a bit better. There's good side quests. There's good ones, but just make those a little bit better, a little bit more impactful. And
here's where things get interesting: is the next game's going to be on the PS5.
Exactly. So it's a great foundation, and that's why I think that the base here is great.
If there is 4 parts. Part 4 is going to be on the PS6. This is a 2035 ending of the series.
So I present as evidence the Lightning trilogy.
Where did you get those? When did you grab those? Tell me when you grabbed those.
These were done super quickly. They made the first game, they did the second game, they did the third game incredibly quickly. I do think that there's a possibility that since they've already done the hard work and done this, and now I make them disappear. Now, since they've already done the hard work of making the world and character models and combat system, I do think we may get the other games every few years.
Well, they're also building it on
Final Fantasy 1.
It's also
seriously, Max, when did you grab those for real though? Max, when did you grab them?
Well, it's also being built on Unreal Engine 4.
Boom, there it is.
So they're not even using their troublesome Luminous engine. been a pain to work with for them, where they've only put out one game on the thing. So I assume Unreal Engine. I think didn't they start on Luminous with this and then they moved to Unreal Engine?
They moved it, right?
Yeah, I guess that streamlined it big time for them. So maybe, who knows? Maybe Max is right. Maybe it's 2 years between each part.
Maybe it's 1.
I don't think it's going to be that long.
That's what it's going to be.
Yeah, I'm a Max. I don't, because they have the base built. I mean, I think the big problem was getting all of this. That they're going to reuse the, they're going to take the assets and reuse them and just build
April
upon that.
2021.
No, not 2021. No.
I could see him dragging it out.
Holiday 2021.
Yeah.
Holiday 2021.
No, 2022.
No, holiday 2021.
Yeah.
See,
2022.
4 parts. What is that? 20.
Yeah, that would take us to what, 2026?
27.
That's okay.
I might not be alive by then, bro.
It could be a cross-gen game for the PS4, PS5, PS6.
Yep.
Yeah. What if the PlayStation 5 is a 10-year system?
Every company's this is gonna be a 10-year system, and it never is.
I think the PS5 has if they do a PS5 then a PS5
they'd probably
Pro.
do a Pro,
Yeah, then that was probably stretched out for maybe almost 10 years. I mean,
What if they just make a PS5 remake?
It's completely different from the PS5.
Yeah, but they just reimagine
and it's in
the
parts,
PS5.
by the way. PS5 Remake Part 1.
Yeah.
They don't tell you that.
Oh man. Yeah. So far so good there. I like the idea of doing a separate cast, Max, that we just post that's full of spoilers.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
I want to discuss the ending.
There's so much to get into. When y'all get there, we'll just that way we can really take our time and talk about bosses and everything.
Yes, and then we can put spoilers in the title. That way people can't yell at us.
Also, Jesse is best girl.
God, Jesse, I had no idea a woman could be that thirsty, but I just want to give her a glass of fucking water.
Okay. Let's, Evan, do we have a...
I was trying to barge into the door, by the way, when she closed it.
Same.
Yeah.
Bro, we never got.
I was trying to kick that door down, bro.
Sean was like,
Y'all.
Sean was probably on the roof seeing if he could like make his way in.
Oh, what's that? Let me in. That was that guy. Let me in.
Sounds like Ole.
I think that's easily
Tifa,
the most
Aerith,
watched
no.
this game so far.
What do you say, Stealth?
It's definitely the most watched scene of that game.
Yeah. Let's go to Evan. We got a Discord question.
What games, if any, have made you cry?
Last of Us did. Last of Us and Final Fantasy back in the day when Final Fantasy 7 back in the day. Yeah.
For me, Last of Us, absolutely, and the other one, you guys are gonna laugh, but when Marcus died in Gears of War 3, is that right? Man, I got choked up. I don't know why, man. I just lost it.
Was it at least a manly laugh or something? Or...
Oh, you talking about Dom?
Dom. Sorry.
Dom, yeah.
Yeah, no, that.
Especially because they showed his wife and all that. Oh, thank God.
Oh, dude, it hit me. It hit me.
There's definitely a few games. I don't want to say mine because one of the more recent ones I'm embarrassed of, but I cried in, but I'm not going to say.
Let's go.
Was it Spyro?
Sonic
No, it wasn't.
Did you cry over Sonic Unleashed? Because that game.
Those were fear tears if ever wanted to play that again.
Fear tears, yes.
Go on.
Are you going to say the game, Jordan?
Oh no.
Say it.
Say it.
Yeah, I'll think about it.
Just say it.
Was it Mystery Dungeon?
No, it was a mystery dungeon.
Was it Animal Crossing when you fished up another egg? Was it when you fished up? That made me cry. That's the game that makes me cry.
Jordan, was it Death Stranding?
No, but I know. I thought you were gonna say
if
that.
there's something that I actually like, genuinely like when I cried, it's because like, oh, that was such a good experience. Like, I love it. I can't wait for another adventure. Death Stranding was legitimately like, that's effed up, and I'm so freaking upset. I'm physically upset right now. Like, this story is effing with me.
Jordan, was it Skate 3?
Yes, it's Skate 3.
No.
And the fact that Skate 4 is still not here, that's why I cried.
Well, I figured it was either Skate 3 or Sonic. I figured it was one of those two.
Someone in the chat did eventually get it. Or say it. So someone was right. One person has been right in the chat so far.
I think I almost cried during Lost Odyssey, during the stories that they
Some of those
tell.
stories were legitimately sad,
Borderlands?
though.
Yeah, I think I got teary-eyed.
It was Borderlands.
Lost Odyssey can make
Lost
me
Odyssey
kinda-
was
yeah.
well, just because the
was so
overall premise
happy.
were a bunch of immortals outliving their friends.
Yeah, exactly.
I was
So
like,
you
really
hear
sad.
and you put all those stories together, and the storytelling's really good, and they put the music and the flashback, and you're just like, man, that that sucks, because who hasn't thought about immortality, right? Everybody's thought about it.
That's all I think about,
like, and then you realize, well, wait a minute, that might suck, dude. Your mom, your dad, everybody, just friends, family, everybody's gone. It's just you the whole time. So that was kind of like, for me, they almost cried, I think.
I've never cried at a game. I mean, maybe I got like angry.
Big tough man.
No, I'm just saying. Maybe I got like angry or sad, but I'm that way with movies too. Like, you know, people, a lot of people cry at movies. Maybe I'm just emotionally dead with some things.
I think I got misty-eyed with the end of Life is Strange 1. If you do a certain path for the end, it's pretty emotional.
Let's go over here to the DualSense controller for the PlayStation 5. Sean, I think, has a picture of it that he can put on his sweet new computer.
Ooh,
nice.
Wow.
Whoa, look at that sweet new picture.
Enhance.
Yeah, okay. So the PS5 controller was just random. You think
Go on.
you start running at 60 frames per second, thinks he owns the world.
Click off. So got a border.
Oh gosh.
Much better.
Much better.
Perfect.
I gotta pee anyway.
You don't need Sean back. Just bring the controller back every single time.
You have to mute yourself.
The PlayStation 5 controller was randomly unveiled. Was that Tuesday? They were just like
randomly 1 hour before Inside Xbox.
randomly before Inside Xbox. That was funny. And then like 3 hours later, Microsoft posted a GIF of like the Xbox One controller with the zoom in on it.
and Nate's trying to tell me that there's no such thing as console wars this generation.
I don't know, Nate.
I think there's some wars are over.
I don't think so. I think there's some.
We will have our debate one day.
There's some passive aggressiveness here.
I think there's too much riding on the line with this generation with Microsoft. You know, I think they really want to come out. So I think there is like console war, but it's competition that's making everybody better. I think Microsoft getting blown up, right? Nintendo getting blown up last gen in terms of things, got them to make better products. So I think it's just natural competition. Everybody needs it. We can't have one system just dominating the whole time. We got to have competition. So I think there is that like friendly competition. Maybe it's not as pointed as it was in the Sega Genesis, like the 16-bit, 32, and all that 64, whatever the case is. But I think there's definitely like, hey, we want to beat the crap out of you, and we want all the gamers, right? Because like, look how much Sony made. You guys read Sony's reports for their third-party games? They make so much money. So obviously Microsoft, look, they're capitalistic businesses. They want that. They want that share. There's no way in hell they don't want that share. They see it. So I mean, I think there's definitely some jabs back and forth for sure.
Oh yeah, like I said, when they posted that you can't. I mean, come on, Nate. You saw them post that GIF of the Xbox One controller. You don't think that was in any kind of retaliation to the PS5 drop?
They've seen that a lot of people were talking about the Xbox controller, comparing it to the DualSense, and Microsoft was like, "Yeah, guys, look what we got." They copied
That's exactly what I would have done. Yeah.
See, that's not warring. It's just sitting there saying, "Yeah, we got a great controller, guys. We already showed you it. We're just gonna remind you of it." And Sony was sitting there talking about their concept car looking
controller. Okay, so let's
ice cream sandwich controller.
Let's talk about this controller that Sean posted up here.
Ice cream sandwiches.
Yeah,
I can't eat them on my diet.
It is a two-tone controller. They moved the light bar to the front, which is good because, well, you don't really see it much.
Now you get two light
bars. Yeah, well, it's interesting. It has kind of like that underglow kind of look, like if you put lights on the bottom of your table, kind of, and it puts light out from the side.
You cannot tell me it doesn't freaking look like Echo from Overwatch.
It does a little bit, yeah.
It literally is Echo.
I will take your word for
this
that.
controller that I had right
Echo
here,
looks like?
but
I don't play Overwatch.
That's a good point, OJ. It is very reminiscent of a Pro controller.
A Smash. Like this is the Smash edition one with the white.
Yeah,
it was ugly. But I like this control. Like, the people said that the color scheme was ugly, and I was kind of like, but
I think
it's actually closer to a Wii U Pro controller.
Oh yeah, it does look like that.
Yep.
It's the same color scheme as the PlayStation VR.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah. So you can play Overwatch 2 on your PS5 with that controller and get a boost for Echo.
It's the color scheme they've already used, but now they've moved it to the controller. I did see that. I mean, a lot of people probably saw the rendering of the all black PlayStation 5 controller. I like that one more. I mean, with that and the colored buttons, like the buttons have like the normal, the blue, the red.
Yeah. I assume we're gonna get multiple.
That will exist.
you know, like other colors that are not two-tone, like because we have controllers right now that are base two-tone, but now you can get ones that are multiple colors or have different areas of different colors. So I'm sure they'll have an all black one. Or
but that's the one I want that comes in the box, or the all black is the one I want in the box, not that one.
Well, I mean, hey, you know,
Well, you ain't getting that.
Wait a minute,
make
John,
a video out of it.
John, wait a minute. What if there was a black, like a black and purple or white and purple? You wouldn't want
See,
that
now,
or something like that.
black and purple, we're getting somewhere now,
Yeah,
right?
black and purple.
Black
Yeah,
and purple, yeah. See, we're getting somewhere.
I want a red and black one.
I'll take a red and black one.
Yeah, I want a red and black one. I think that'd be cool. Yeah.
Oh, they're gonna release a ton of controllers. Yeah, that two-tone shows you that they
How
got some plans.
expensive are they gonna be though?
Okay,
they're gonna be pretty pricey.
I
It'll be $80 controller.
80.
I think this controller is gonna be $75.
80.
What?
It's gonna be
75. Just
I think it's gonna be 75.
How much are the regular controllers? The regular DualShock?
65.
60. Oh, are they 65?
They're
$10
And then 75. Yeah, that's yeah.
I
75,
think
80.
75. Yeah, it's gonna be in the neighborhood. I think of what the Switch Pro controller was when it dropped.
Yeah,
It'll be
Switch
right
Pro
in
controller is it's $70 for that, right?
It was
$69.99.
I think it's gonna be in that neighborhood. Yeah, right around there. But I think it'll end up being like 75.
People freaked out about the Pro controllers.
Oh,
price,
they
too.
did. Yeah, they did.
Well, people freaked out about the Joy-Cons. Those were $80. I remember that. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Pro controller, that's because it was the most expensive controller outside of like the Elite controller, I guess, at the time. But it had 40-hour battery life, so you know, it's pretty good. That's pretty
They
good.
did say with this one, they did say that they're going to focus on that was part of the press release was battery life. So that's very important.
My only concerns, I'll be honest, I feel like I'm one of the few people that I'm not super impressed by this. But my two biggest concerns are how heavy is it going to be? Because it does sound like it's going to be very feature centric, and I am curious about the battery life.
I have a feeling, Max, the weight will actually be. I'm gonna say this now. I think the weight is going to be less than the DualShock 4.
Oh, you think? Okay, good.
I think it's gonna be lighter.
I think it looks so big size-wise. It looks like it's going to be bigger than my PlayStation 4 Pro controller. So I just want, even if it's a bigger size, I just want to make sure that it's about the same weight. Because I've played with heavy controllers in the past, and I feel like heavy controllers always have, I don't know, I just don't like heavier.
I think it's going to be similar to the Xbox One controller, like the S controller, the one they released that has like the Bluetooth connectivity. It's going to be like that, but a little lighter, because it's not going to have the same rumble motors. The haptic feedback motors that are in like the Switch Pro controller are actually fairly small. They're like little rectangular bricks that sit in there. They're not these big spinning motors that are actually fairly heavy compared to it. So like by where your palm is, it's actually gonna be a bit lighter, just making the whole thing lighter. So I think it's gonna feel like I like the look of it though, like how where your palms wrap around it. They're just, my only problem is I don't like that the sticks are still symmetrical.
Yeah.
I'm just not a fan of, I don't know, I like the asymmetrical sticks. I don't know.
That's literally what I was gonna say. If there's one thing I wish, even if they had two different models, let's just make the asymmetrical sticks. I legitimately
Third-party controllers.
Yeah, I know, but I hate the fact that they're like making it all this money, but they won't like offer a different option.
That's where things get interesting, Jordan. I am very curious to see how many third-party
just make DualShock 4s.
No.
Just make DualShock.
Well, the DualShock 4 is supposed to be compatible.
Oh, okay.
PS5 is what they've said before. But my reasoning for that is I have gone through so many Switch third-party controllers. I've never found one that still has the HD Rumble in it.
Still has?
I have never seen that.
I doubt any third party is gonna have like the haptic feedback.
But the PS5 controller is supposed to have it.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
Yeah, that's also what's going to make it $75.
Now our third party is going to start doing that, using the haptic feedback stuff.
If they can get it.
That's my
if
question.
It's affordable for them.
You know,
well, then
I don't know.
The entire feature then.
I mean, it is what it is.
Third-party controllers, though, man. Like, I think that there's just like a general stigma against third-party controllers. I mean,
they
people
don't last
still do
as long.
it.
They're not as well made.
Yeah, they're only good for a YouTube video.
Well, like, oh gosh, well, like Astro has the C40, and I think that's a pretty good controller. And I know Scuff does some wild stuff with, $200 controllers. But honestly, the best controller out right now is the Xbox Elite controller. The V2 one looks ridiculous, but like that's the best controller I've used. Is that so? I think Sony should make their own high quality first party controller. I think Nintendo should too. Sure, why not?
Here's my thing. I don't give a damn what this thing looks like. Like, people sit here and analyze how it looks and all this shit. You know what I care about? I care about how it plays the video games. I care about how it feels in my hand. Because honestly, and I said this in my video where I talked about this controller, to me, when I look at the Xbox One controller standard, the Pro controller, and the PlayStation 4 controller. To me, the PlayStation 4 controller is the best looking. It looks like it would be the most comfy controller out of all of them. But when I'm playing when I'm playing my PS4, I would prefer to have the Xbox. I actually like the Xbox One controller the best out of everything. The Pro controller is right there. The Pro controller is right there with it, and then the DualShock 4 is a little bit behind because of the light bar and the shitty battery life. But I mean, I care how long of a charge can I get from this thing? How does it feel in my hands? Like, people are sitting here clowning this controller. Like, a lot of it is because I follow some PlayStation and some Xbox fanboys who are very over the top and very dramatic, and they're like, "Oh, well, you know, the PS5 is screwed because of the teraflops in the controller," and I'm like, that doesn't mean jack shit. At the end of the day, it matters about the games and how you play the games. And if the controller feels good and the controller feels good in your hands and the games are optimized for the hardware that it's on, who gives a shit?
I'll tell you this, the Switch Pro controller would be, to me, the best controller if it had analog triggers.
I think it would be the best.
It would be there. Like, I'd be like, this is it.
If it had a damn headphone jack on it.
That too. That's very important as well.
So good. That's what's important to me is, like, how long can I play this without having to plug it in, or will the game just stop playing and I'm done because the battery is dead.
The battery life in this, you gave me, John, like
that's a good controller right there.
This battery never died.
Yep, that's a great controller.
I literally went 2 months without plugging this in, and it's all I used.
What was the name of that one again?
SN30 Pro Plus.
It's the 30 Pro Plus.
Okay.
Yep, from 8BitDo. Awesome controller. Absolutely. Doesn't have a headphone jack, though. That's only one thing.
No headphone jack.
There's a great video online. It's on YouTube that I saw today, and I think it was from a channel called Nate the Hate, where there's an Australian guy named MVG and some American clown named Nate. They talked about the DualSense and they compared it to the Xbox Series X controller, and they talked about how it's not about the two-tone, but it's how, you know, the games interact and how companies could use the microphone and the speaker and the haptic and gyro and all the features the controller has. And, you know, I'd recommend people to listen to that video. It's about an hour long. I think the channel is called Nate the Hate, and, you know, it's pretty interesting.
You know what, the one thing that's weird about the Xbox in the Series X one, because people are comparing them to the PS5 controller, is the fact that the Xbox controller still uses AA batteries.
Yeah, and
yes,
the PlayStation DualSense has USB-C. I mean, come on, Microsoft. What's going on?
The Series X has that as well. It should have USB-C.
It does,
but it doesn't have. Because like this has micro USB on the top, but it has AA's, right? So there's no. Like, you gotta buy the play and charge separate. But my problem with that, Jordan just had the best example in his hands of how you handle this situation for all of them. Nintendo should do it, Sony should do it, Microsoft should do it. Jordan, on the back of that controller, there is a door. You pop that door off. Inside, they give you the rechargeable battery, and you have the option of using that or AA's. That's it right there. That's what you do.
Well, then they
can, but that's going to raise the price of the controller, and they're not going to be able to sell the additional accessory of having to buy a charge pack.
Those I don't know how much 8BitDo controllers.
You bought it for me.
It is $45.
Yeah, they're $45 expensive.
Boom. Heard it here first.
Yep.
$25.
But Microsoft and Sony, they make money by selling accessories. If I give you the rechargeable battery and I give you the option of AA, I'm now removing me selling an accessory and making money.
What accessory is Sony selling you?
They're not making money on the AA batteries unless they have their own battery line that I'm not aware of.
But they'll assume that you're going to go out and buy the rechargeable battery pack for charge kit for $25.
Hell no, I'm going to buy the big ass case of batteries, the AC Delco or whatever the hell I bought for.
I'm talking about
48 of them.
Like, but Sony and Nintendo, theirs are sealed. They're sealed in.
But what's wrong with that? What's wrong with just using a charging station to charge your controller like a phone? It's not really something that's I mean, we should just be charging our stuff with a charging station. I don't want to use batteries in 2020. I don't want to have to find AA batteries in my house to.
I don't think, but it's a nice option to have available.
That's why I'm saying they should do it 8-bit.
Well,
That's
yeah,
why I'm
but
saying they should do it 8-bit.
I will never argue
Pick different
against having
models,
options when it
but not
comes to a
default.
controller or anything else.
Right.
I
But
wouldn't.
it's not necessarily an
price of
option. It's
increase
the
for it.
standard.
But what did I just told you the best option.
Kid Smooth in the chat. Kid Smooth. He's here to correct everyone on the Xbox One or the Xbox Series X controller.
It has play and charge kits. He's absolutely right. But I mean, how much does that cost? Well,
15, I think they're like 15. Like I have the Nyko one here.
So okay, I want a controller plus a charging kit. What am I paying like at the register? What's the bottom line?
$90.
No,
Seriously?
it's not that much. It's not that much. It's the controller is depending on where you get it from. I think it's still 60 at like my local.
I think the cool part about what Microsoft is doing with controllers is that you can bring your old controllers forward to the Series X. I think that is a very smart move.
Well, they better.
They haven't really said yes or no whether you can take a DualShock 4 to the PS5, and I think that is a problem for them because all of a sudden on day one you buy a PlayStation 5, you've got one controller that comes with the box. But what if you want to play a 2-player game with your friend? It's all of a sudden you're going to drop another $80.
Yeah.
Well, let's say Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo all came out and they said, we're going to sell you a wired controller for half the price. All the same features, but it has to be wired. There is no wireless option. Would you buy that?
No, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
I would.
I don't hate
granted,
wires.
I'm not far away, so I guess it really depends on your setup. Like if you're sitting at a desk,
Yeah,
that's
but for
really the
the
only monitor you play on.
but for the Switch, you have to like go like on like the side of the Switch and the dock and all that. There's no front
There's only, like,
USB.
two.
I have my Pro.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Sometimes I stream so long, I just use the USB charger and I'll charge the controller while I'm playing.
Okay. Yeah,
I have like a 30-foot
on that thing.
cable for mine because my DualShock dies in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So I just leave that shit plugged in.
The
know what was
newer
really
one
cool?
lasts like 8 to 10 hours. You gotta get the
It
newer
lasts
DualShock.
15 seconds
Oh
at
my
best. I don't know if mine's broke.
No,
I've never
here's
got
the
8
thing.
to 10 hours out of mine ever.
No,
I get
here's the thing.
maybe 3 or 4 hours out of mine.
Thank
The
you.
first generation ones are bad. Now, if you have a
Yeah.
PS4 Pro, those ones are better. But what
Yes.
Sean is saying is like, dude, I was watching Forensic Files and that shit died, man. Like, I was seriously, I had it plugged in. It was fully charged. I watched like 4 episodes of Forensic Files. I'm just pausing and skipping, and it literally got close to. I'm like, I'm just watching Forensic Files. Like, what's going on here?
Treat yourself to a purple controller, Sean.
I got the purple one.
okay.
I'm not buying a PlayStation 4 controller in 2020.
Why not?
Dude, I
It's
have like 7 controllers.
Have you seen CPMs lately?
I have the red.
That's true. I
I have
ain't
the
buying
red one as
nothing,
well,
bro.
the Spider-Man one.
Rip.
Let's move over here to Evan. You want to hit us with the Discord question while I pull up the Streamlabs and the super chats and go over?
All right. Let's go with. They're all kind of awkward.
Okay, good.
When are they not?
How awkward are they?
So we'll go with this one. It's kind of a tech one. Will games developed for the PS5 be harder to port to other systems due to the different memory configuration?
That is a good. That is actually a pretty good question.
I
It's a good
don't think
question,
so.
but I doubt it, yeah.
If as long as Unreal Engine and Unity exists and Havok and all those middleware tools, no.
Virtuo's already said that they're going to attempt some PS5 to Switch games, even so. I assume some to the PS4 and the Xbox One are still on the table.
Switch is a different animal because it's a lot lower spec, so there's a lot more things that you have to consider when you attempt to port something to the Switch. But in general, I don't think there's any concern there. I think it'll be good developers know how to port games, and I think that'll just continue.
We saw Call of Duty on the DS. If there's a way that they'll make it happen. Evan, you want to have another Discord question?
Yeah, I've got another Final Fantasy one in there. Who's your favorite character to play with in Final Fantasy other than Cloud?
Tifa.
Really?
Tifa and Bear.
I use Bear. I like Bear.
Barrett's really fun.
He's fun. He's pretty slow.
He's just
Anyone
slow,
but
but his machine gun, it just feels like I said, Mass Effect. It feels like it gives me that feeling like I'm blasting somebody.
Tifa has like impact when she hits something. She hits something. It's like feels like.
When you kill somebody with Bear, like when he talks so much trash to
He does. He does. His voice lines are
Get
really
your
good.
ass out of here.
He is great. Yeah.
I do like it though. Like if there's like enemies up in the air or whatever. I had like my airborne enemies when I was streaming the other day. I was like Tifa, and she's like teleported into the air, and I was like, "What the frick?"
Air combat,
Superwoman.
Air combat with the melee guys in this game did need a little bit of a better pass, but yeah.
Air combat it looks like, you guys ever watch the movies like where they just pull people up out of nowhere?
Yeah.
That's what happened.
But 90% of the things you fight slowly drift backwards, so you'll go up and you'll start swinging, and your first hit'll hit, then the second one will be whiff, whiff, whiff. It just floats
It
away.
reminds me a little bit of Dragon Ball Z, where it's just two people hovering without moving, just punching each other perfectly, and it's like, are you gonna start falling?
That's true. It looks really weird, but it's cool. It's funny looking.
Jeff Burns says, I don't have PlayStation, so I'm not playing Final Fantasy VII with the lockdown. I needed a long RPG, so I'm doing Dragon Quest XI S on Switch. You'll get 100 hours out of that pretty easily.
Easy.
Minimum.
Adam says, hey guys, love the show. Always try to catch it live when I can. My question for the cast is that if the port of Burnout Paradise Remaster does well, would it finally motivate EA to get off their butts and start supporting the Switch more outside of FIFA? I question Burnout Paradise and how well that's going to do because it's $50.
Yeah.
Jeez, is it? Oh my god.
Yeah.
It'll be
No way am I buying it.
They apparently posted up on one of their websites that it's coming out in June.
I personally think no, it's really not. They have a fundamental, their strategy is to not support the Switch, right? The reason why they're only doing this is to somewhat appease the investors that are asking them, look, why isn't there something? Why isn't there something? I think that's the only reason.
They just sent Burnout out to just like die and be like,
they
look,
just said,
no one bought it.
Here's Burnout. Maybe we can make a little bit, because the game was already, it's on PS3, it's on 360, PS4.
It's
the game,
cheap too.
Yeah, it probably took them not that long to port the game over. It's a racing game, so I think they're just doing that just to point at it, just get some easy money.
Why can't they bring Mass Effect over? I mean, even though you got Mass Effect.
I wanted Dragon Age too.
Yeah, because that would take work.
Can I have Madden?
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ. Now that my dreams of an XFL game have been crushed.
Which sucks, by the way, because the XFL's that's
XFL was legit. It was great. It was fun football. It was much quicker, snappier than the NFL, and now it's been
It got bodied by coronavirus, dude. I got friends that play for that league, and they're like, dude, we were doing okay, but this coronavirus.
I think their ratings were better than they thought they would be. And
it was, and it sucks because they literally got beat by coronavirus. That's it.
Yeah.
Desmosum said, Jordan, can we get a retrospective on 8-Bit Eric's toe?
All right.
Nani?
Okay.
Go on.
Wait, what?
I'm not sure. I just read it as it's here. Ibrahim Gunnar says, does any of you guys remember Hernie Hopperhead on the OG PlayStation? It was my favorite 2D platform on the PS1. It's developed by Ukes and published by Sony. I really hope if I can play it these days legally, since we lost the PS1 copy we had.
Did this come out stateside?
Yeah, never heard of that game.
Hermie Hopperhead.
I've never heard of it either.
I'm interested. I need to check this out.
I don't think it did. Yeah, it was a Japan only game.
Oh. Hey, that what's called? It's region free, right?
Yes, it is region free. Yep.
There
What's
we
it
go.
called again? Hernie Hopper?
Hermie
Hopperhead.
Hermie, you're Hopper. Oh.
Remember that episode of Full House where they found out that Uncle Jesse's real first name was Hermes? Yeah, it was a good episode.
Michelle kept making fun of him. He's like, yo, it's my grandfather's name. Respect it. And then
Uncle Hermes? It's a Greek name.
Ian Heisch just says, what you cannot unsee of the DualSense controller is that it looks like a bra, and if the rumored V shape of the PlayStation 5 is true, then that's a panty.
No, why would you?
That's a panty.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Oh my god.
What is he? What bras are you
That's a
looking at?
panty.
What?
Bisquick, when did they start lighting up like he's saying?
Can you do a favor, RTT? Just step aside so I can see them titter tatters for a second. Let's see if this really looks like a bra.
Hold on.
Yeah, get help.
There we go.
No, I mean, it's got like the strap up top, you know?
Yeah.
See the strap here.
Sexualizing a controller? What the frick?
Look, I don't know how quarantine screen.
It do be curvy though.
Get help, just get laid. I don't know how else to tell you.
Right?
Like,
It's called social distancing.
I'm not seeing it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I think it was Brian
Did Click just say, "Are you sexualizing a controller?" Have you ever played the Hyper Neptunia games, where they sexualize literal consoles into female forms?
No, Nate, I'm not you. I don't play obscure games when I'm bored.
Whoa! Hyperdimension Neptunia is one of the most beloved RPG series out there. How dare you?
There's actually like 8 games in that series now. It's
Is that
pretty
actually
popular.
a game, though? Is that
Yeah,
actually-
that's a game series.
Yeah.
No, it is
popular.
a game. Hyper
Every day. We stray further.
Ain't no Hermie
Each
Copperhead
day
though.
we stray further from God's love.
let me
Panty
go over
Party is a serious game. Okay?
Let me go over some of these super chats. Katana Riku says, "Good evening to everyone." Trip and Fall says, "I feel like RE2 got poorly treated at the Game Awards due to it being a remake. Do you agree with that? And if so, can Final Fantasy VII expect the same treatment?"
No, it'll win.
I think we're going to run out of games to where Final Fantasy VII will just find its way into the Game of the Year because, like, they're going to have another slot to fill almost.
Yeah, if we only have like 20 games.
I was going to say, with all the games that are getting delayed, it's just going to be like standing there at the end of the year, like, okay, I guess I'll be here.
It's different enough, and it plays well enough for the Western audience that it's definitely going to be up there for like a lot of different stuff, when it comes down to it. So. RE2 was in a pretty stacked year for games. There was a lot of big games. So that's really what happened. And there were still other publications that gave RE2 game. I think like Joystick gave it game of the year. So I mean, it's not just the Game Awards, guys. That's not the be all end all. There are other people who have their opinions and they're valid too. So keep that in mind.
Final Fantasy VII has that namesake too. It's almost like I bet you they look at that and they say, okay, the marketing here, we could make this work. Looking at it for Game Awards and stuff. So.
Award shows and stuff only help people who are already in the industry. Shouldn't decide anything.
Here's an interesting one. Following up to that, the person asked, Animal Crossing Game of the Year.
No,
I don't think it's gonna win it, but I think it'll be nominated.
I think it'll be nominated. It'll get nominations for sure.
Get like a
It'll win
family game or
Game
something.
It'll be one of the only 5 games that comes out this year.
I could see like you're saying, let's click family game. Could get thrown in that category. Win that. I could see something like that. Cedric says I could really go for a Culver's Butterburger.
Ooh, me too.
Never had one.
I went to Culver's once in Wisconsin. It was all right.
Culver's was legit.
My meat of the week wasn't necessarily, well, it was meat, but it was Bubba's Burgers this week because the local place that I go to, I fucking drove up there to go inside and they're like, we're only doing curbside pickup now. And I'm like, oh. And what was messed up was I went there and the first girl was like, well, do you have some things that you want? I can run in and grab them for you real quick. And I was like, oh, no, don't worry about it. And so I went to the gas station to get some smokes. And then I'm like, fuck, well, I'm already here. I might as well. So I drove back, or I went back to it. And then another girl came out and she was like, we're only doing curbside. And I was like, but the other lady said, oh, we're only doing curbside. I'm sorry. She went back inside and I was like, yeah, I hate going grocery shopping, so I had a friend go for me.
Mirror Shield says, is the controversy over Final Fantasy? Oh, can't read that. Okay.
It's spoilers.
Thanks, Mirror Shield, but I can't read that.
We read that super chat, but we can't because
you know what? I will save that for our spoiler talk.
Yeah, we're making an entire video for you now because
Mirror Shield. I will save that one for the podcast we do after everyone beats the game, and we'll revisit that. Then we have how cheap you think PS4 Pro gets when 5 releases.
Not at all.
It'll drop $50.
I bet you places just start to get rid of it because did you hear that the Xbox One X they're already starting to get rid of them? Retailers are
$299 for you can get the Xbox One X for $299 at GameStop. You can get it. Many places have it for.
And they're not replenishing stock.
I think there's probably a lot of them. To be honest, there's probably like a lot of them though. There are probably.
I have a feeling they're moving production to the Series X, and they're like Xbox One X on the way out.
Well, there's no way if they do like the other system, there's no way they can keep on producing Series X
for
the cheaper one. Yeah, the other one, like they can't keep doing all crap. They gotta stop at some point.
Then we have War Machine Guy with $1. Then we have Miguel Perez saying Happy Easter, Nate, you fool.
You too.
Okay. Juice Man Vaughn says, where's the Cuphead physical copy?
Waiting for the DLC to release.
Oh, okay. Got it. Clueless Gamer says, I got Stadia free for 3 months, so I've tried Destiny 2 on my S20 Plus, 120 hertz, and it plays really well. I'm just not sure if it's worth the money since you do have to pay for some of the games. What are your thoughts? We'll actually get into that in the next segment when we do the Stadia free stuff in a second here. Thanks, Clueless Gamer. And then Leo John says, never played Final Fantasy VII Original, 15 hours in a remake. Love it. Very good. They definitely made that game for a lot of people new to the series as well, which is good. They had to get their money back for that game. So Cedric says, thoughts on Bloody Roar trademark filed by Konami?
Don't get your hopes up. It's
Bloody Roar making a return.
That Bingo machine will be dropping in Vegas later this year.
Hey! I heard Silent Hill's coming back for the PlayStation 5. You know, that's a talk is out there for it.
Well, the rumor that came out today is that it sounds like Kojima was approached about coming back for a Silent Hills game, and apparently Kojima said specifically, "No, thank you." That's
they don't need him for this one. They don't need him for this Silent Hill game,
right?
Right, Nate?
Apparently, they came crawling back with, "I'm so sorry, like please, Death Stranding me."
Oh man,
we'll see if the Silent of the Hill is announced in the next few months.
Yeah, that'd be at the PS5 event, wouldn't it?
Well, it ain't coming out anytime soon, so if they announce it now, they'll have about a 2 to 3 year wait.
It'll be a little bit, yeah, but the fact that they would put that logo up at a PS5 event, that'd be a big deal. So
I'm not sure if it would be at the PS5 event per se. Somewhere else.
What about at the PS6 event? Will it be at that one?
I hope so.
Hopefully, Final Fantasy Remake Part 2.
Okay.
And then we have enjoying Nate the Hate with MVG discussions. Will you be doing some episodes live in the future, like the new talent on the show? That's Evan.
I mean, I guess we could do them live sometime.
Yeah, we could do a live show at some point.
There's a different feel for live. You can try it
feedback.
That'll cut your editing time down to nothing.
I mean, you're assuming we have editing on what we do now.
No, I know you guys don't, but you still have to render the video. It still takes a lot of rendering.
Nate, you know what you can also do?
You got to do it at all.
You can also when you get to the point, Nate, you could premiere them. I don't know if that's available to you yet, and then you guys can actually be in the chat and like talk to people.
Do you want to let that video get seen by YouTube?
Yeah, premieres do not do videos favors.
Yeah,
Premiere is like, oh, this video sucks. Let me kill it.
I've never used Premiere, and I never will. It's absolute trash.
The fastest way to crush your newest video.
I did it once, and I was like,
why are you
doing this again?
Why are you trying to sabotage my channel?
Because he sees you on the come up.
Yeah, see.
Sabotage me? What is this?
Ziljan says Halo 6 gonna be on Game Pass. No reason to buy it. I'd agree. If you have Game Pass, you should get it. Download it first.
What is
Halo 6? Next Halo Infinite.
What if you don't want to pay a yearly fee? What if you just want to buy your game?
Well, the interesting thing with Halo is most people buy it to play online, so you're already paying a yearly fee anyway to play online. So I guess they figure I'll get Xbox Live Ultimate and just wrap Game Pass into it. So that's kind of how Microsoft gets you, I guess.
What if you want to see Master Chief's face on the box art?
You can still buy it.
Yeah,
technically,
you
can still buy it.
Then why have Game Pass when you can just buy the game?
Not everyone needs the box art. I'll get both. I'll download it and get my.
He was saying, why even have
Oh, that's just his opinion.
I'm just saying to give people options. That's all I'm saying. Options are good.
I mean, the way I see it, Game Pass is like, let's say Microsoft decides to create a new IP or something and they reveal it. You can be like, well, I don't have to take a chance on buying it. I'll just get it on Game Pass. And if it's really good, then maybe I will buy it. There you go.
Sure.
I'll do it.
One way to look at it. Yeah.
Tifa is, and this one says Tifa is the best Fringe. Oh, because you're saying Jesty.
Oh no, not at all.
That is going to be an interesting battle for you.
Third place.
Twitter. Jordan, yeah. Then we have Jeremy saying playing Final Fantasy VII for the first time to prepare for Final Fantasy VII Remake. Just got to the Golden Saucer, loving every minute of this game. Honestly, Jeremy, you can just go play Final Fantasy VII Remake now.
Yeah.
You're already past it. The part you've already played, you just go play it now.
I think, I mean, technically at that point, I think for a lot of people, because the Mountain was asking me about it today. He's like, would you say like someone needs to play the original before like they play this one? And I was like, you don't even know the story of Final Fantasy VII, do you? And he's like, no. And I was like, you could just play the remake. The only time I would tell people to play the original is if you like know the story, like you've had it exposed at some point and you want to see how it happens in the original context. If you don't know anything about the game, just dive right into this remake.
Here's the best part though. You can start up Final Fantasy VII right now, spend 6 or 7 hours, stop, go play the remake now, and it's all of that just redone for this. So you can technically do that pretty quick.
The best experience, in my opinion, as a Mega fan is beat. I would say do a full master file of the remake and then go back and play the original. And I think it'll give you more context to what's to come and get you excited of a direction it might go. But there's so much in the remake that you don't need context.
The remake is the same length as Final Fantasy VII anyway.
Yeah, in its entirety.
The same length. So, and then we have Alcatraz saying 7 years later, Crysis 3 still beats every other game away with its visuals. Crysis 3 still looks really good.
It's
on PC. Sean,
Crysis
there's a game.
It's a very good looking game.
Is there a free demo?
It's on EA's launcher, so you may be able to get like 2 hours for free or something like that.
Oh, there you go.
They charge you.
They don't have it on Steam?
I don't think Crysis 3 is on Steam.
Lame.
It's on Origin, man. But yeah, just do the Origin thing. Get like 2 hours for free or something.
Dude, you know what, Sean? There is a demo for Crysis Warhead, though.
Hell is that?
That's still a really good looking game. The original Crysis, everyone always asks, can it run Crysis? Can it play Crysis?
Yeah, Warhead was based on the original engine, though. It's like changed.
It still looks good though. Right. It still looks good. Yeah. Nintendo Power says Final Fantasy VII Redefined. That could be another title for it. Mega Nerd says an arcade one-up that needs to be is a Sega AM2 cabinet with Virtua Fighter 2, Fighting Vipers, and Sonic Championship.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Everything he said, I agree with. Let's go.
Yeah.
Dora says my timeout payment. Eric says a 1-to-1 would still leave plot holes. Love you all. That's for 5-7. Console Gamer 97 says since there was some negativity last week about Sunshine and some Zelda games, let's have some positivity. What's your guys' favorite game and why?
Some negativity.
Mario
about
Sunshine. No, I'm just kidding.
Mario Sunshine, baby.
Let's talk about Phantom Hourglass, okay?
What's your guys' favorite game and why?
FF7 because it was my first real RPG. So
Super Metroid.
Ooh, great pick.
You can have one guess.
Metal Gear 3.
Skate 3.
No.
Borderlands 2.
What does my shirt say?
Spyro.
Whoa, who would have guessed?
Oh my god,
that's a series, though, like a single game.
The first Spyro game.
First one.
The first one.
I thought all the fans from like when you did the Spyro stuff made you hate everything Spyro. I thought
no, they made that. Okay, no, there's a lot to that. It's not. It wasn't about that.
Favorite game is tough though. Like
I can't.
There's so much context.
I can't. I could be like a favorite of a series.
Favorite game is easy. Chrono Trigger is my favorite game because it opened New Game Plus, multiple endings, the Mode 7 stuff, huge RPG that was approachable, wasn't too hard, wasn't too. You had multiple you can put ATV or you can have it regular turn based. It was amazing at the time. The game was like $70, $80 or whatever it was. Like they were forever to get the game, and that was just like an amazing experience. It was the dream team, biggest game Square Enix had put together at that point after Final Fantasy VI. So yeah, Chrono Trigger.
You got a favorite game there, Stealth?
Yeah, I was gonna say Chrono Trigger, but Super Mario World is another one of mine. I remember getting that at launch. With the SNES and before the internet, a platformer had never had so many secret paths and things to do. It was just unbelievable.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, I was like Link to the because I always look to the Super Nintendo like Link to the Past or something, or you go Mega Man X. I gotta go with Sunshine. Actually, Nate, hit us with your favorite game.
Mario Sunshine.
Sayonara Wild Hearts.
Sayonara Wild Hearts has the best motorcycle seat I've ever seen in my life. Great.
Go back to playing Spyro, Fringe.
All right, bet. I'm doing it for charity every weekday night on Twitch.
All right, Nate, hit us with the favorite game before we move on.
It's probably Link to the Past.
That was the correct answer. Okay.
It's a great game.
That's good to Hourglass.
Yes.
That's my brother's favorite game. I think that's my brother's favorite game too. The past, I used to watch him play that like endlessly, like all the time. He would play that game.
Ruben Carrasco says, my only hope for the future Final Fantasy VII games is that they not gonna read that. Andy Ackerman said, thanks Ruben though. Andy Ackerman says lady, gentleman, RGT.
I like how I'm in my own category.
You ain't a man.
Neither man nor beast.
Something else.
Ethan R says, come give Papa Randy a hug, Jordan.
Shut up. The reason why Borderlands is great is not because of Randy. Randy gets no credit. All right.
Demolition Man says Call of Duty Big Red 1 on the GameCube teared me up.
I don't like that name. I'm sorry. I just I'm not
Evan, that name. Evan says legit cried at the post credit of Final Fantasy 15 around the campfire. Was a great bro moment. Really showed how deep their friendship had grown.
That's such a good shot. Oh, definitely the best shot in the whole game.
Eric says cried when I finally beat Crusaders of Might and Magic on PS1. So hard. Ziljan says Xbox One controller, the best controller ever made. Mac Mega says, do you guys think the rumored Xbox Lockhart system will be more powerful or weaker than the Xbox One X?
Weaker.
Yeah, it'll be weaker.
I think it'll be more capable because it'll have better hardware, newer hardware.
Yeah, maybe teraflop wise,
it'll have better loading.
Teraflop wise, it'll be weaker, but I think because it'll be on the newest architecture, it'll have an SSD, it'll have like all the stuff that will make it more capable. Better CPU.
Yeah,
much better CPU.
Yeah, it'll definitely have improved loading times and some advantages, but as far as raw power, it would be weaker.
Mike says, thank you guys for being here and helping us distract ourselves during the current world situation. You all make awesome content. It's really appreciated. You got it, Mike. Kids Smooth says Xbox has play and charge kits.
Cool, kid. Cool.
I actually have the play and charge kit for my original Xbox Elite controller from Nyko.
I have one for the 360, but I don't have one for the Xbox one because I did with RGT. I just went to Costco, man, and I just bought a big old pack, or I think it was Amazon or something like that. I just got a big old pack, and it's lasted me the whole generation since like 2015 or whatever. So
these were on sale. I bought like 200 batteries 4 years ago, and I've never run out.
Wow. Yeah. I have the Nyko bricks, and you just set the controller down on it when you're done, and it just charges it. So that's actually worked out pretty well. And then Espilion Nate says, do you think Microsoft will release the Series X in Japan, or will they just skip the Japanese market? Phil's already said they will. Yeah, he said they're going to do worldwide release.
Will they sell any? That's the real question.
Yeah, they have to though. they have to if they want to go there and actually like get that Japanese support like they've been trying to do. You cannot not have the system in Japan. Like they're not even going to talk to you. Like
they will. Plus, they just announced Game Pass for Japan, right?
Yeah, they did. Yep. Lost Odyssey 2. Let's go.
They're making moves. Is it going to be a massive impact in Japan? Probably not, but they're definitely doing the right things to get a foothold back in Japan.
Well, if they get xCloud out there for cell phones, that'd actually be pretty big for that market in Japan, where there's a lot of cell phone gaming and stuff. So
it's just that console gaming, because I look at the sales every. Like typical console gaming in Japan is really bad right now, guys. I mean, it's like
it's all Switch.
Yeah, PlayStation 4 gets everything. Like they've thrown the kitchen sink on PlayStation 4. Monster Hunter, Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy, and PlayStation 4 sales are just almost non.
They use it for Blu-ray. There's that. So they use it for Blu-ray.
So this is I never heard this before, OJ. So are you saying the games sell, but nobody's buying consoles?
The games sell, but PlayStation 4 sales have just been really bad. I mean, they're not horrible, but like Switch is like selling, like let's say Switch will sell like 150,000 units. Like PlayStation 4 will sell like sometimes 15,000 to 10,000. Like it'll be in the like Wii U type of range at times. I mean,
Switch had like a 96% market share last week.
Yeah. So the market share for Switch is just so much higher.
Is that because culturally they just love
culturally cell phones and mobile platforms that they're just moving over from
I heard that, but I had no idea that it was that drastic.
Well, that's why I'm saying if Microsoft gets xCloud out there, and let's say I don't know, Nate, they get some sort of service on the Switch, maybe all of a sudden they got a foothold in Japan out of nowhere.
I think Microsoft sells they sell sometimes less than.
Oh yeah, there's sometimes it's funny. I'll look at it and they'll be like, they sold 80 Xbox Ones last week.
Yeah,
I think it was like 25 last week. It was bad.
Yeah, it's just moved away, and that's even from Nintendo's typical. Heck, it started on Wii U, even like the Wii. Like the Switch already passed up the Wii in terms of overall sales, and the Wii was a success, but the Switch already passed that system up in Japan with it. So the whole console decline in terms of just set-top boxes have been declining for a couple gens now. So.
Trip says, what are your favorite characters to use for your 3-person party in Final Fantasy 7? Well, there's only 4 characters to use, right? So I think right now it's
a question.
Cloud, Tifa, and Aerith have worked pretty well for me.
Yeah, well, in the main game, I always used Red 13.
In the original
for the whole, in the full game, because I was assuming we're going to get back to that point next game probably. Yes. So I always like to use. I liked Sid for a long time, and I kind of got turned off to him. So I like Red 13, Tifa, Cloud.
Okay. I think I used Red 13, Cloud, and Barrett. I think is what I had.
Red 13 needs to be in no matter what. He's like a wolf dog.
Well, he reminds me of my best friend who introduced me to Final Fantasy. They talk the same, so I'm always like, oh, this is my best friend, except he's also a dog.
Evan, we have any more Discord questions left?
A couple, yeah.
Okay, you want to hit us with one?
All right. This one. I mean, we assume that PS5 and the new Xbox are going to get more powerful versions. I'm guessing how long do we think before then? How long do we think before that moment of that incremental power increase?
2 weeks.
I'm gonna say 4 years after launch. I think it'll take a little longer this time because I think they're gonna try to stretch this next generation out much longer. So I think it's gonna be an 8-year cycle. I think the next consoles will come out 4 to 5 years after it comes out. Do we have another Discord question, Evan?
This one's a little bit for MVG. From all the games that have been ported to the Switch that have previously been considered impossible, which is the most impressive?
Burnout Paradise.
I think for me, The Witcher 3 is, and there's actually a really good tech video that outlines the porting process, which I know it's kind of nerdy and technical, but if you haven't seen it, check it out. It goes through everything that they did, everything they considered. They initially started out by just like reducing like the shadows and just doing kind of the low-hanging fruit things you would normally do when you try to port a game and make it run at a good level of performance, but they realized very quickly that they had to be a lot more creative. So for me, like The Witcher 3, even now when I load it up on the Switch, I'm like, holy shit, how do they pull this off? This is like amazing. So I think that's the standout for me.
Okay. Yeah. That video, that really shows how talented Saber is. So it makes sense why they got picked up.
Yep.
For a lot.
Yeah. I mean, when you go check that video out, it's, they know what they're doing. I'll say
I don't think anything is off the table as far as Switch ports. Even like people say Cyberpunk won't come. Really? I mean, who's to say it won't in a couple of years, right? I mean, I think anything is possible on the Switch if there is enough optimization and work being done.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think Virtuous is very serious about bringing more PS4 exclusives and even PS5 exclusives to Switch, and I think they can do it.
I mean, I think that if you look at it, remember back in the day, like the arcades compared to like NES, it was like they bring some of those games over.
Yep.
Way better than arcades, but they got it. They got it going on the NES.
Final Fight, Bum Jack. I mean, all those games. I mean,
that's why that Dreamcast was so wild when it dropped. Those
exactly, because you had like those near arcade, arcade ports.
Yeah, but you're right. They did whatever. They're like, well, there's an audience there. Let's make this work. We have another Discord question, Evan.
We already have someone asking predictions for Game of the Year, Victor.
Oh God, not this talk again.
The problem is we don't know if we don't know if some of these games are coming out. That's my problem. I mean, let's assume Halo Infinite and Last of Us 2 make it this year.
I'd go with The Last of Us 2. I think that's just going to be.
I think Cyberpunk's going to win.
Oh yeah, or my Cyberpunk.
That's just what I think, because apparently Cyberpunk's done and they're just polishing it. They're going to spend like the next several months just like refining
CD Projekt Red always sweeps award. I mean, heck, I think one time, man, they got like their DLC got like all sorts of awards. You know, they're so I think Cyberpunk for sure.
Let's finish up. We're E3 is going. E3 isn't happening apparently digitally this year. IGN's taking over. So I don't think anyone really has any, because we talked about that before. So I don't think anyone really has too many thoughts on that now. It seems like E3 is like, I'll be surprised if there's a 2021 E3 basically. But let's talk about Stadia real quick. Before we finish up here. Max, did you need to go?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and run here, folks. I haven't eaten all day just by accident. So much love to chat. People have been saying they like how young I look. I decided to shave it finally. So thanks, everybody. I'll see y'all next week.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Max.
By the way, nice meeting you, Stealth. I was on a podcast with you a million years ago, but it's nice talking to you again, man.
It's nice seeing you too.
Let's finish up here with Stadia. and then the other super chats after that. So Stadia is free now, technically. They also are giving everyone 2 free months of Pro. Although before that, Jordan, you pointed out that they were sending out codes to YouTube Premium people anyway to try to give the thing away to them.
Yep.
It doesn't look great for Stadia right now. I'll say that. It looks kind of bad, but it is free now. So
hey man, what else is out there? Like the Nvidia thing is tanked. The Microsoft one isn't really going anywhere. I mean,
hey, xCloud is good, man.
I mean, they haven't really like pushed that very far, like since for a couple of months. So I mean, good on Stadia for taking the initiative here, especially in this time where it's so uncertain and like people want to do things, they want to play games. They don't necessarily want to spend like 7 or 8 hours preloading a game on their PS4, like what I had to do with Final Fantasy VII Remake the other day. I think it's a cool thing that they did. I'm not saying it's going to work for them, but I think taking the front foot and the initiative is the right thing to do.
They did give away the Pro membership for 2 months, and Guilt is on there, and I actually think that's worth checking out. I'll say that. I think Guilt is actually a pretty good game. It's on Stadia, it's good. I think if you put it everywhere else, it's like, it's kind of neat.
I can't endorse this service, man. As someone who's tried it, and I have 2 of them. It's just nobody.
I'm not going to tell anyone. I'm not going to tell anyone to pay money for it.
Yeah,
but
it's just nobody cares. It's free, but it's like that. Your time is valuable. Time is valuable. You can spend that time playing Final Fantasy VII Remake. You can spend that time watching MVG's video on the Polymega. You can spend that time watching Miss Click get angry at people in Overwatch. You could spend that time watching RGT or watching, anything else. Like crazy now. It's not worth it's not even worth the time investment. And I'm not trying to be or anything like that because it's not even worth the time investment. Honestly, that time is better spent playing your backlog, better spent watching your favorite YouTuber. This Stadia thing, it's dead, dude. I can't even be positive about it. There's nothing positive about Stadia. There's nothing positive about Stadia outside of that it's there and it's an option. That's the only thing. And options are great. Yeah. Everybody likes options. But this online based only, no ownership, I can't. There's no reason to get.
What I found funny is the same day that they came out with this news, there was an article from some Asian website that like Switch had sold out, and now those are going for like double the price, and people are paying that. And so I'm like, people are willing to pay like $500 for a Switch, but don't.
I made a video on that, dude. The Animal Crossing $700. It's like $700, and people are buying that as fast as possible, or the $500. They rather do that than play Stadia. Stadia is it's not even worth your time investment. And I'm not trying to be salty. I'm trying to be like, oh, you hate. I've got 2 of them.
800 right now.
Sucks, man. Like I don't care what it's trash. Hey, I got one of those too.
1,000.
Jordan, you can legit sell that for $700 plus.
I have a whole Animal Crossing display here full of stuff. Let's go. Whole display, 20 million.
Listen, I have something very valuable to add to this conversation. I don't get that upset at people in Overwatch.
What?
Okay, fine. You can watch Miss Click kiss her cat for 40 minutes.
And then get mildly salty.
Relentlessly for 40 minutes before she decides to get into the next game. You can also do that.
Baby.
That's why I'm not a streamer. Like I get very angry at games and swear and throw.
Okay, that's why you should be a streamer.
Sean,
that's why you should be streaming, dude.
Yeah.
Sean, you about to try out Stadia now?
No, fuck no.
Sean, you won't even click a button to log into Gmail to try out Stadia.
What's the point? What am I gonna play on there?
Rant.
Hey,
Sean will forget to unsub, and he'll get charged in 2 months, and then he'll be...
Very true. I'm terrible about shit like that.
Oh, man. Hey, that's where the market's going, right? In like 10 years, we'll just all be streaming games.
Oh no, it's already here. It's already here.
Oh man,
I can't endorse the Stadia stuff, man. I just get a Switch. Get a PC, play your games, get Steam, get something else. Just
even Apple Arcade is a better value.
Yeah.
I will say, they did one thing, and that they did beat a record. We all said we'll give them a year. It took them less. So, good job. That's an achievement.
I mean, they just opened some studios. So
for who?
Like it's their studios. That apparently
who's playing those games?
Nobody's playing the game.
Well, that's the problem. They should have established their studios.
They opened the studios. The games aren't out yet.
Oh, yikes! Like they're doing it backward.
Yeah,
well, they
they went and spent a bunch of money on some of the best talent in the industry, I guess, with executives and stuff like that. And there's nothing to show for. You go get Jade, that girl from Ubisoft chick or EA or whatever. And what has she done? She's done nothing so far.
I think she probably had a part. Well, she played a part in like trying to establish that studio for the God of War director that they brought in from Sony Santa Monica. I think that's the most that I think she probably helped to make that happen. Whoopity-doo! But the problem is they just formed that studio. So like, this game coming out of that.
That's the big problem. It's like you can't sit there and then they had the audacity to sit there and say, "Oh well, it's on the publishers to announce the games." It's like, what? Wait a minute. And then, it's on you to be more prepared and have a
lowered all the
lineup.
requirements for the indies, so now they can maybe put their games on it. Because I think they just assumed that people would come running to it, and they haven't.
Like Nate, when's the game coming out of that studio? Like that's gonna be a minute, right?
Never. Yeah, never. The game's not going to come out. Stadia will not be a functioning entity by 2022.
Well, it'll eventually come out on PC and Xbox and PlayStation because they're going to have to sell it somewhere.
Yeah, it'll be on the platforms they didn't intend.
Yeah, that's true. Because they formed the studios. They're going to develop a game. What if Stadia's gone by the time the game's ready for market?
Amazon's going to want its money back. Like,
all right, let's go ahead and let's go ahead and just put it on these platforms then.
I'm telling you, once PS5 and Xbox Series X gets rolling, this thing's just gonna. It's already good, but once
they're more, both of them are more powerful than their own. Like
more powerful,
they're more interesting.
Yeah,
more interesting, more functional. You can stream games on them as well. Like what. Stadia has no place in the market.
They're both on newer, like the Stadia's on like the older, like GCN architecture. I think like old stuff.
Even like cell phones. Like when I go outside, which for all nobody should be going outside. But if everything was okay, I'm not gonna sit there and let me stream a game and put my control. Like who the hell's gonna do that? Like why are you gonna do that with? Oh,
the controller thing is weird.
You're just gonna grab a Switch. You're gonna play a stupid little Candy Crush or something like that. You're not gonna stream Stadia. Like what the hell?
Evan, we have that's it for Stadia. Okay, Evan, do we have a Discord question over there?
For anyone affected by the stay-at-home orders, how are you staying physically active?
Nah, I'm getting fatter.
What?
Jerking off.
RGT walking out of his house looking like Popeye.
No, like Quagmire. Remember Quagmire?
He goes outside.
Looking like Quagmire when he found out internet port.
I have a park near here that I run on.
I've been trying to run in my backyard. I got enough space in my backyard to where I can actually run around. So I do my Death Stranding workout.
I set up an area for working out. I have not used it yet.
Oh, I have an area I work out here too in the mornings. Then I go and run in the afternoon. Then I play soccer after that. Because they have soccer.
He's a soccer boy.
I used to play soccer. I played soccer for like 13, 14 years. Yeah, I didn't know. I still got it. I can.
Yeah, he still got. He's on the cover of FIFA 04.
Wait, you play soccer with other people right now?
No, not now.
You better be social distancing. I'll play
at the park because there's no one at the park, so I'll just play there because they have the net. They don't have the nets up, but they have like the bars still up.
I told myself that I still got it, John, and I was doing flips in my backyard, and I never felt worse the next day. Well, I don't have it anymore. I thought I had it.
No, I can still run the field. I'm good. I can still put it in from the corner. I'm fine.
I'm good at short bursts.
If we ever go back to normal life, I'm gonna look into some indoor leagues or something, and we'll see what happens. World Cup 2030, right? We'll see.
There you go.
No, I'm just trying to stay active that way. You gotta get outside to like a park or something. Yeah. If you're within, like I'm within walking distance of it, I can run there. So. But definitely, I think it's good to go out and walk, get some exercise.
Definitely get outside, get the blood going, get the muscles moving. Going for walks every day. That's what I usually do. It really helps with all this stuff we're dealing with right now.
Yeah, where I live actually has like the highest concentration of confirmed cases in Connecticut. And what you'll see is like literally people walking the streets just to get exercise, but they're not social distancing because there's so many people who want to walk.
Yeah, the park I'm at has like massive visibility, so you can see everything around you, and the track is like a mile around, so you can stay away from people very, very easily there. But if it's if there's a lot of trees and stuff around you and you kind of have a harder time to see people, you might accidentally run into people.
I get bad allergies.
Walking on both sides of the street. and it's crazy.
I have very few confirmed cases in my area, but people are still keeping their distance. And whenever I go running, like if there's somebody running, like we keep our distance. But I live out in like where there's a bunch of fields and stuff, so I just go running. I'll just go run out there.
And we have another Discord question. Evan?
With all the big rumors for Paper Mario, has anyone played the Bug Fables game, which should be coming
Yes, I have.
consoles?
It is good. It is good. I have it on Steam. That's a game to check out, Sean, on PC if you're just looking for something. It's very similar to like Paper Mario. It doesn't take much to play, but
I need something. I want something beefy.
Okay. I'll look through my Steam library. Oh, I just bought the Humble Bundle thing that I was going to give out codes on Twitter soon. I can probably find something that's like a little bit stronger in there if you want. I'll say. But we were going to give out some Humble Bundle codes.
No, you give them to me instead. It's fine.
Okay. We were going to give those out. I was trying to figure out how we were going to do it on that because originally I was going to drop it in the chat, but I thought about that. And I'm like, that wouldn't be great. So yeah, so I was trying to think of a fun way to do it, and we might try to work on that for next podcast. But yes, Bug Fables is good. I like it. It is good. It's definitely one to test out a high refresh monitor because it doesn't take much to play it. And that's how I tested out this monitor. The 144 hertz monitor here was with that. We have another Discord question, Evan?
Kind of don't want to ask this, but whatever. Do you think it's okay for there to be a deluxe edition of Final Fantasy VII Remake when it isn't even the full game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got
why? Because people like Jordan buy them.
That's a big motorcycle, right?
It's a big motorcycle.
It is. I'm glad the quality is good for that.
It is good quality. It's really nice. It's all movable and can be posed sideways. The wheels move.
I'll put this out there. Final Fantasy VII, as it is now, this remake on its own is a full game. It is a full game. I think what people are doing is they're looking at Final, and I can't explain it that well without spoiling things, but Final Fantasy VII, the PS1 game, is not what's actually being remade here. They are remaking the entire lore. Everything that's been told, even outside of the game, is being worked on here. So the way I see it is they have this massive story they want to tell, and they're like, let's make full games out of this part, this part, and this part.
If there's anything to kind of get upset about in terms of what you feel, it's not necessarily the full game. It's more so sometimes the structure and not being maybe a bit more open in what they did.
That's the marketing. Yeah.
That it would be that, not necessarily it not being all of that, because you're going to get your value with game. Like, is your $60 worth it? Yes, the $60 that you spend will be worth it if you spend the time in the game. So that's what it comes down to at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if people consider Resident Evil 3 a full game,
and people are trying to justify that being 60. I'm like, nah, there's no way in hell I'm justifying that.
Final Fantasy 7 remakes like 7 full games then apparently.
Yeah.
And how many more Discord questions do we have?
That should be it.
Okay, that is all.
Good.
Couple of super chats here to go over, and I think we'll be finished up. Let me double check here. Oh, real quick, I just want to go around. We'll just pick one real fast. GameCube or N64?
GameCube.
Oh.
GameCube by a large margin.
Overall, GameCube.
Overall.
Overall.
The nostalgia is with the 64. The better games are with the GameCube.
But I mean, there's not the GameCube doesn't really have a good Mario game.
That's hard for me to say because there's Chameleon Twist.
I'm going with N64. Sorry, guys. I think N64 is the superior system.
Let me ask you a question, MVG. Have you ever played Resident
Evil? Which one?
Resident Evil 4, sir. Have you ever played Resident Evil 4?
Look,
the GameCube has all the Resident Evils from.
Yeah, have you ever played Resident Evil 0? And what about the original Resident Evil? You ever played that remade on the GameCube? Was your mind not absolutely blown when you played that original Resident Evil on the GameCube? Come on.
I know what you're saying, and I do agree with you, but like for me, Mario 64 was like, that was it for me, man. Like as soon as that game came out and I first saw it, I was like, holy fuck, this is like groundbreaking. This is something that I've never seen before. And for me, maybe it's nostalgia. You know, maybe there are better games on the GameCube, but for me, the N64 just has that place in my heart as the game system
let me ask you one more question. Have you played Metroid Prime? Have you played the original Metroid? What was your mind thinking when you played that game?
That is pretty good.
I mean, I could counter that and say, you know, Smash Brothers, the original, or I could say
Melee. Melee.
I'm not even a Smash person. I know that's sacrilege.
Melee. they still play Melee today. Have you heard about
You can't change the man's heart.
Animal Crossing.
I'm trying though. I'm trying.
Wave Race on the Cube was nothing compared to Wave
MVG,
Race on the
hit him with the load
N64.
times.
1080 on the N64 was better than 1080 on the GameCube.
1080 on the GameCube.
Yes. Come on.
No,
That's
Wave Race
nostalgia
and 1080 were better on the GameCube.
Yeah,
The only one that was better on the Cube was F-Zero. I feel like that was definitely
Mario
Tennis. What about Double Dash?
All the Mario parties.
And Fire
Double
Emblem.
Dash.
And
Double
of course, do we need to circle back and
Strikers?
talk about Mario 64 versus Mario Sunshine again?
I mean, there we have it.
Wow.
The GameCube wins.
Wait a minute. Does anybody like Metal Gear? Does anybody like Metal Gear Solid here? Anybody like Metal Gear Solid?
Yes.
The N64 had
Did you ever play Twin Snakes, MVG? How about you, Stealth? Did you ever play Twin Snakes? That's a pretty good game.
I
huh?
like Twin Snakes. Yes, I like it.
I mean, the N64 has like a top 20 that's really amazing, but the breadth of GameCube, you just can't beat that.
Hey, John, have you ever heard of this game called Eternal Darkness? Ever heard of that game? It's a pretty good game, huh?
What about Hybrid Heaven? You got Hybrid Heaven.
What about Sin and Punishment?
Pokemon Windback and XT Gala Darkness.
What about Tales of Symphonia?
Oh, Tales of
Symphonia.
What
That's a
about
good game.
Pokemon Snap? I mean,
What about
Pokemon XT Gala Darkness.
Wrestling?
Coliseum.
Jordan, Gale of Darkness. There you go.
Gala Darkness and Coliseum.
Yes.
64 did have Snap though. MVG's got it. Man,
Snap is fun, but it's
Legend
not.
of Zelda Ocarina of Time.
that was on a collection for the GameCube that also had Majora's Mask.
I mean, it
Master
was,
Quest.
it was already.
There's the other one. There's Wind
Wind Waker.
There's Wind
Wind
Waker.
Waker and Twilight Princess.
Wind Waker and
Toon Link is
Super Mario
amazing.
Thousand Year Door.
Do you remember how much hate Wind Waker was getting when it was like all cell shaded? No one wanted that game. When
Everyone
When it came out,
wants
people
it.
bought it. But when it came out, people bought it.
Toon Link is best Link.
And what about
Shut up, Fringe.
It's truth. It's truth. Don't deny the truth.
I mean, but the fact is that GameCube has Resident Evil 4. That's what it all comes down to at the end of the day.
No, you know what it should come down to?
It was
You know what
better
it
on the
should-
Wii, though.
You know what it should come down to is the GameCube is where Nintendo's biggest franchise got its start. That's Animal
Chibi
Crossing.
Robo.
That's not true. It was on the N64 in Japan with Animal Forest.
Yes.
But
There you go.
but it introduced to the West as Animal Crossing.
Yes.
Let me ask you guys another question. Like, how was the Fire Emblem game on the N64? Was it pretty good? How was the Fire Emblem game on the N64? It was pretty good, right?
I forgot something that I wanted to talk about because I knew it would piss off OJ. I forgot a game that I've been playing. That is Valkyria Chronicles 4. And hot take, the combat in Valkyria Chronicles 4 takes a shit on Fire Emblem. Hot take.
I love Valkyria.
Wow, that's such a hot
That's
take.
totally not true, but that's okay.
Oh, dude, come on. It is so much better. I'll give Fire Emblem the story, the presentation, all that shit. But the actual gameplay, when you're actually in a battle, Valkyria Chronicles 4 shits all over it.
Valkyria Chronicles 4 is great. Don't get me wrong. It's great, but it ain't better than Fire. But it's great.
Fire
I love Fire Emblem. I love Valkyria Chronicles 4. Great game, by the way. Really good. I think it's amazing. I don't think it shits all over it though. I mean, but I can see why you might like it more because you actually get to move around and you play that way and then you take your turns. So it's pretty cool that way. But the strategy and depth, I think, with Fire Emblem kind of has a beat. And like you said, like the characters and stuff like that. But no, I can see that for sure. I can absolutely see like people liking Valkyria Chronicles more. Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay.
Banjo-Kazooie. Banjo-Tooie.
Are we still on that?
NWO Revenge.
Jet Force Gemini.
Day Reckoning, Sean.
GoldenEye.
Come on, the N64 games. The GameCube games were great wrestling games, but the N64 went shit on them.
Time Splitters 2, MVG? Time Splitters 2? Which one would you rather play right now? Time Splitters 2 or GoldenEye?
I mean,
Mario Sunshine.
Because I'm going to use Oddjob against you. That's what
let's go.
All I know is I just double checked my GameCube and Kirby Air Ride is in there.
Kirby Air Ride.
GameCube is the winner, obviously.
Oh, dude, someone said Pilot Wings.
Star Fox
in the chat.
Assault and Adventures?
Absolutely, Pilot Wings. What a great game that was.
There's a reason why Pilot Wings. There's a reason why Pilot Wings isn't back, bro.
It was on the 3DS.
Yeah, it was kind of
Pilot Wings Resort.
What about Beautiful Joe? Have you guys heard about that game? It's a pretty good game. Beautiful Joe.
Yeah,
pretty good game. Yeah,
I remember it.
It's pretty good. Beautiful Joe 1 and 2. There's
In a hot minute.
Oh man, Beautiful Joe 2.
What do you think, Nate? N64, GameCube.
N64 is the revolutionary console, but
Yes.
GameCube refined those games.
Yes.
So, I mean, if we're comparing overall library, the GameCube wins.
Well, hold on.
Melee is superior to Smash 64.
But I mean, the GameCube had the revolutionary Wavebird.
Yeah.
Did have a Wavebird.
What's a controller? That's technology. That doesn't count.
Are you eating
Well, then,
a
so then does the
potato?
Nintendo
What is that,
the
pizza?
N64 was
What is on that pizza?
Green peppers.
It
I mean,
looked like,
Sean-
it looked like a sweet potato skin because it was like green screened out.
Yeah.
What about Phantasy Star Online? What about Phantasy Star?
What about almost honestly every game?
Yeah,
What
Luigi's
about
Mansion.
that?
and all
What
that
about
stuff.
Luigi's Mansion? Yeah, what about that game?
Yeah, what about that, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, what you got now, huh?
Wait, hey, how many RPGs are on the N64 MVG? Can we need one hand?
Hey, yo, Quest 64.
Ogre
is
battle.
Ogre Battle?
What else is there?
Paper Mario?
We're running out.
Play Fighter.
Paper Mario, Ogre Battle, Quest 64.
MVG, port Diablo real quick. Hurry up.
Diddy Kong.
I'm working it right now.
I mean, I'm sorry, bro. We gotta. The N64 is getting yeeted when it. But no,
Oh, I just looked at the shelf and Mario Strikers is on it for the GameCube.
I literally said strikers.
And Sluggers.
No,
And
it's-
Sluggers and
they can keep
and
Sluggers. They can
golf.
keep that one.
Mario Toadstool Store, like Click
Yeah,
Click
Mario
Toadstool.
Tennis.
Tennis
about
was
that?
better on the GameCube. I will say that, yeah.
Guess
Oh,
we're making
that's tough,
MVG
man.
smart.
And you can play
N64
Game
Killer
Boy
Instinct
games
Gold.
on the, and you can play Game Boy Advance games on the GameCube.
Yeah, can't do that. on
All Game Boy
64.
games on the GameCube.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's getting
that
tough.
on the 64.
Getting
N64,
tough.
can
But
you,
I could
can you play
transfer
Game
my
Boy games?
Pokemon to Pokemon Stadium.
But
Yeah,
you can only
but
play the
still.
Pokemon games. That was it on the N64. I did that all the time because you can speed it up, but but it's still not. It's just
Interesting.
not enough.
I don't know. GameCube has Skies of Arcadia, so
Yes, guys.
And
were
Super
arcade.
Monkey
Yeah,
Ball.
that-
Which is a port
Super
from the
Monkey
Dreamcast. Thank you.
It's a better
Super
port
Monkey
because it adds the
Balls.
Legends battles
Kiki
to
monkey.
it.
Yeah.
Monkey Ball.
Okay, let's let me see if I can figure out where these super chats end.
Pikmin?
It got heated.
Mischief Makers.
Mischief Makers is dope.
I know.
Yeah,
Conqueror.
Mischief
I mean, Conqueror was on the 64, so you know.
Mischief Makers was good.
and I mean, Perfect Dark is still one of the best multiplayer first-person shooters.
At 10 frames per second.
It doesn't matter. You just gotta get that expansion
I mean, it
pack,
matters
get
a
an extra
little bit.
frame or two.
No,
I mean,
the expansion pack, it opened up too much and it got worse. It was like
I mean,
8
I'm just
frames
saying,
per second at one point.
I think I'd rather play Time Splitters 2 than GoldenEye or Perfect Dark right now.
I mean,
But
Perfect
that's just
Dark,
me,
on the,
though.
Perfect Dark on the 360 is pretty legit. I'll say that.
Okay.
On the Xbox One.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's 60 frames straight on. That's pretty good. Then Alex says N64 versus GameCube Part 3. Yep, there it is. GameCube for the win. Barber says they are wrong. The PS5 controller has alien penguin face or a pair of overalls.
People are seeing all these weird things in the controller that I'm not even like, I don't see it all.
Apparently, it's a cloud. If we just look at it, it becomes fucking like a brontosaurus.
Switch Corner says, am I the only one who would like to see a new Mystical Ninja game on the Switch?
That'd be cool.
You're not. I would like it too.
Troy says Elite Ninja represented. Wrestling games talk do. And Sean mentioned some over there. Sean mentioned some.
Shout outs to my boy Troy, Elite Ninja. Heck yeah.
Then we have Espilian Nate says Madden and Call of Duty will never come to the Switch because Nintendo is not kissing an EA Activision butts hard enough. Hello, Miss Click, with two smiley faces. Kenneth Bailey says expecting RG to hook it up with that. Oh, Vigor, the game you're playing.
There's a contest going on right now. Everyone be sure to enter.
What's the contest?
Oh
For
God.
Codes to the beta.
Ethan R says let's get Smooth on the SpawnCast. He was on here before. Kid Smooth can come back on. Yeah. What we should do is we should have him on when the whenever Microsoft has their event, if they have one, especially before E3. Like after that, you know, to kind of reflect on it. Him and Rand, maybe.
Yeah.
Only if he does my favorite song.
Joe says RTNA 2 flops are more efficient than GCN. That they are. The Dan guy says with so many games getting delayed, held back, or yet to get announced, would the Game Awards be canceled for this year? Jeff Keighley mentioned no, but he would maybe look towards already anyway the idea of it being digital if it needs to be. Yeah. So he's already on top of that. He's already on top of that.
He'll save a
Just
ton
be
of money.
him and Kojima in a room hanging out.
They have Eric
Hanging out.
Zidane Steiner VV for 9. Bumpus 9. Very nice. Ethan R says N64 GameCube. Yep, we had that. Asking for Baron Black. N64 GameCube. That's for Ethan. Mark says, hey Spawn, I finally put liquid metal on my base PS4 and it's really quiet now. Followed your video. I want to say thanks for giving me the confidence to take this console apart. My hero. That's for the liquid metal stuff, which I might take the Xbox One X I have here apart and see how it looks like a year later with that stuff on it. So that stuff generally eats away at metals, so it'll be interesting. Ryan says E3 2021 will be held at Denny's down the street. Get there early for a Grand Slam breakfast.
Look, Denny's is legit. Don't
My Denny's be closing too early.
Adam,
they have metal concerts at Denny's sometimes.
Mine's are 24 hours. My Denny's
not right now during. They usually are, but not right now during this stuff that's going on. They're closing at like 8.
We have we have Waffle House here.
All I got's Wawa that's open.
Yeah. Adam, they actually put up like big plastic shields between you and the cashier now. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I went to CVS and they had that when I was at CVS. They had these big old huge plastic shields and like get them. They make you put stuff in a bucket, like all your items.
You know what happens when people talk? They spit a lot. You know. So.
That's true. And there's a big old table. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Adam says, "Hey, love watching you guys every week. Any news on Sega mini sales? Because it'd be cool to see a Saturn mini release with all the games. The PS1 mini should have had and maybe release a Dreamcast. Everyone wants the Dreamcast mini. Yes, everyone. Hopefully that eventually happens. How's the emulation for Dreamcast, MVG?
It's pretty okay. Let's say that.
Okay.
I mean, I think they could pull off a mini for one, but yeah, it's something that may take a little longer to get than
with M2 on it, maybe. You know, looking at 20 Dreamcast games.
If M2 got on Dreamcast emulation, yeah, absolutely, it'd be great.
I would spend upwards of $100 or more if they had the good collection of Dreamcast games on a mini. I would put the money down for that.
Same.
They put some good stuff on there. Lycon Zero says this is for Miss Click for putting up with these jokers every week.
Hey, I'll take that.
Mr. Pete says shut up Fringe.
Nope.
Sakon 10 says, well, what are 4 retro courses you want for Mario Kart 9?
I don't care.
DK Mountain for sure. DK Mountain needs to make a
from Double Dash.
Yeah, from Double Dash.
Yeah.
DK Mountain needs to make a comeback.
Yeah.
That's the one that I'll pick. I don't have 4 though. Oh, Ghost Valley from the Super Nintendo. That one too.
I would say Waluigi Stadium.
Yes, the pinball.
Then we have Zaire Miller saying, who is your favorite villain? Mine is the culprit in Persona 4 Golden.
Favorite villain from video?
Does it have to be in a video game? Because I was going to say Frieza.
Frieza!
Frieza's in a video game.
That's not bad.
He's still a villain.
I was gonna say like something like anime, like
video game.
Game.
The bad guy in Bushwhacked.
Mallows from Xenoblade Chronicles. Like Mallows, awesome. I love Mallows from Xenoblade Chronicles. Is great.
The character you play in Shadow of the Colossus.
I was about to say
Kefka. The character you play?
Kefka's a good one. Kefka's a good one. That is a good one.
Yeah.
Kefka's one of the few bad guys that actually wins.
Reinhard Bragdon from Bushwhacked, because he sets up Max Grabelski.
Yes, he does.
Mega Nerd says N64 had Mega Man 64. That's true. That was pretty good.
Yes, it did.
GameCube had an anniversary. GameCube had a bunch of Mega Man games, and it had X.
My light's falling.
Yeah, but Mega Man 64 was Mega Man Legends about little times.
I thought I was gonna shout Frieza, but you know.
And then Wishbone says you can't get Beetle Adventure Racing on the GameCube.
Watched it.
That is true. Man. Juice Man Bond says GameCube had the best version of Soul Calibur 2.
Accurate.
Not wrong.
Yeah. Shadow Nexus says Sin and Punishment and 64 wins. And then Kenneth says RGT hooks up the Vigor and or plays my son in some Mortal Kombat or WWE 2K19. Oh man, you installed that and then got rid of it right away.
Yes.
Again. Clue for President says first live show. I love you guys. Keep up the good work. And RGC, thanks for the RE2 remake review. I bought it today over the RE3 remake.
Smart.
Very good. Very good. I think that is everything though. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything on Streamlabs. And I think we're finished up here. Let's go over Stealth. Thanks for joining us tonight. Our guest, where can they find you?
My pleasure. They can find me on Twitter at Stealth40K.
I have you linked down in the description as well, everyone. So go ahead and check him out there. Thanks for joining us tonight. Let's actually go to Nate this time because usually we end with you. Nate, where can they find you?
Find me on Twitter at DirectFeedGames. Also on Twitter at Nate the Hate, followed by the number 2. And it's good stuff on both those Twitter accounts and YouTube channels.
Okay. And then Sean.
You can find me on RGT85. Obviously, subscribe or die. We did hit 286,000, so we're moving right along the past few weeks. Even though CPM is in the fucking toilet right now, all the videos I'm putting up are getting really good views, so that gives me hope for the future. So thank you.
Very nice. And then we have OJ.
Yeah, you can find me on Player Essence right here on YouTube. I'll be doing a Final Fantasy VII giveaway that'll be going down this upcoming week for the members. So check out. I stream every single day, or pretty much every single day, not on Saturdays. And I'll have a bunch of cool RPG videos and more stuff on Final Fantasy VII. So check it out if you like, and news videos and stuff like that. So yeah.
And then MVG.
You can find me on Twitter at Modern Vintage G, YouTube Modern Vintage Gamer, Polymega video dropping on Mondays. So if you like that stuff, check it out. And thanks for having me on.
Then Miss Click.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was fun. You guys can find me here on YouTube as Miss Click Gaming, or I stream every day as well on Twitch at MissClick_live.
Then Evan.
Just Kimrick's Project on Twitter. If I'm doing anything I posted up there, I'll probably be posting about finishing up the Final Fantasy VII stuff on stream tomorrow, maybe. Depends.
Oh,
schedule's
okay.
weird.
Yeah, I was watching your stream. Good stuff, man.
What about Jordan?
You can find me on Twitch, Jordan Fringe. I stream every weeknight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Any money that goes into the stream goes directly to United Way for our charity fundraiser that's going on right now.
Very cool. Very cool. And that's going to do it here for the SpawnCast. Thanks everyone for joining us. We'll be back next Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. We'll see if anything happens this week. Hopefully something. Maybe we'll get a look at like the silhouette of the PlayStation 5 console.
You get a look at the power supply of it.
Oh, there we go. See, we're
just
in.
the plug input.
Right. Yeah. All right. Thanks everyone for joining us. We'll see you next weekend.
Bye.
Nintendo 60.